Welcome back, everybody, to the GSG 40K podcast. We are here today to discuss a kind of the Christmas of 40K. Usually comes once every 3 months, but for the beginning of 11th edition, it's coming every month. So we have a new balanced data slate, which means changes to our favorite factions and some changes to the new core rules, changes to the dispositions, just changes all around. So we are here to let you know what those changes are and what our thoughts are on them and what you should know when you go to build your next list for your next tournament. Before we begin, though, two things I want to let you know real quick. First of all, thanks again to our first channel sponsor, Hades 3D Print and Design. They make awesome 11th edition terrain. It fits the 11th edition maps perfectly, exactly to what the layouts are by GW. It also comes with the footprints as well that also match the tables perfectly. So you get a great set of terrain, great set of footprints, all for one price. And if you are one of the first 5 people that uses the discount code that will be listed in our description, also on screen here, GSG10, you get 10% off. So you get a great set of terrain at a discounted price, and you also help support the channel and a local small business in San Diego. So it's a win for everybody, and we really appreciate Hades 3D Print and Design for their support. Looking forward to using their terrain at our upcoming events, and looking forward to seeing fans of the channel get their hands on it and upgrade their tables as well. Also, very quickly, if you're listening to this podcast the week it comes out, we are running a TTS on, or sorry, an RTT on TTS. And we're going to run it just like a normal 3-round tournament. There's going to be a judge, there's going to be tournament organizer support, and we're also going to be running a streamer table. So if you want a chance to be on one of our streams that look exactly like our bi-weekly or twice a week streams, you can sign up in the link at the description below. Again, this is only the week this podcast comes out. It's on August 29th, 2026. We would love to see you there if you have any interest of doing so. All right, with all that said, we are now ready to break down the data slate. I'm joined here by Ricardo and Dustin, our podcast regulars. We might have some other GSG members dropping in, but we will see. For sure, it will be the 3 of us. So first up on the docket, we're going to go alphabetical, just like we did last time, is the Chaos faction. So we got a couple of armies near and dear to mine and Dustin's heart coming up. But first up, alphabetically, will be Chaos Demons, who got a good amount of changes, unsurprisingly. One other thing, so we can see the changes here. It's a lot of points up, and we'll discuss them in detail. But we do also have some win rates to go over for these factions as we discuss the changes to kind of see if they fall in line with the win rates. So the left one on the screen here is going to be every grand tournament, so a tournament of at least 5 rounds with at least 21 players since the last data slate, so in July. And we can see a lot of stats there. Turned out to be about 4,800 players across 86 events, so a decent amount of sample. And then on the right are some win rates we've already talked about on the podcast, but that would be the WTC win rates. So Chaos Demons, we can see at the WTC, a lot of people brought Chaos Demons, and it was a lot of Legions of Excess, but not exclusively Legions of Excess, and they won at about a little over 50%. But we can see since the data slate, they have won at 55%, the 3rd highest overall win rate, and they've also won 6 events. So definitely some decent wins, but not really at the top either. All the way at the top, decently high, but WTC, a lot of people brought them, but they did okay. But we can see here points up for a lot of the main demons that we're seeing a lot of play, and especially hit the Legions of Excess, the Demonettes, the Fiends, the Keepers, the Contorted Epitome fairly hard. I know we've talked about it a bit, guys. Anything immediately jump out at you here? And any surprise? I'm not super surprised just with the player numbers and the win rates, but this is, a decent amount of the demon roster went up here.
The blood crushers getting hit again is definitely interesting.
Yeah, because they got hit a bit in the last data slate as well.
Plus 10 for the first 6, plus or for the first 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Plus 10 for the first. Plus 10 for 6 for the first 2, and then 20 for the third for 3, and 30 for the third if it's the third unit. So they don't want you to bring more than 12. It seems like, and it's going to be more expensive while you do it.
Yeah. And all the battle line
Yeah,
going up, it looks like also. Was it Warp Tide? I think is the name of the battle line attachment
Yep.
for
Yeah,
Chaos
it makes
Demons.
them
yep,
quite a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I
it's
mean, a lot of
pretty
this
good.
is, yeah, it's not super surprising. As a Death Guard player, it's a little sad to see Beast and Ergo go up, but luckily, I don't know if it's intended. Um, Death Guard like Demon Attachment did not see that points increase, so
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I think
um,
these are exactly the same. I mean, we'll get to it for Emperor's Children, which isn't surprising because there was a lot of Carnival of Excess being played, but I think they got the exact same changes. So it's interesting that Death Guard might have dodged that.
yeah, because I'm fairly certain Beast and Ergo were 70 points, yesterday. 'Cause that's what they are today. So I
Fair
guess maybe they
enough.
could have been 65, but my current list that I had with that attachment did not
Didn't change.
go up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised. Definitely. I mean, this is a good. Demons got hit a decent amount in the first data slate, although I think it was more focused on the um, Zinch demons, which we don't see any named here. So this is kind of the second data slate was like, oh, also the other demons. I think demons were quite a bit better in 11th, just from kind of the rules changes and how everything worked out. Them actually caring about cover, where they really didn't in 10th edition, I think made a big difference. Now it actually does something for them. Where
Right.
in
Yeah.
in 10th edition it was like, oh, -1 AP, cool, I'm saving on my invuln, just like I always was for most of their units. So now actually getting some benefit from that is something, and we've definitely seen them everywhere. So I'm not surprised. This might be a little too much, especially for Legions of Excess. Like that's a lot of combined points for Legions of Excess. So I think that might disappear back into the warp yet again. When that first came out, it was running the running the game, and then it got absolutely slammed, and now it kind of came back a bit for 11th. But I don't play it, but I would be surprised if basically every unit you saw in that build going up fairly dramatically, still surviving to see a lot of play in the next month. But perhaps we will be wrong. Also, we'll note that Demonic Incursion is now taken hold, so they changed that up on them a bit. So that might see some more play. I'm going to assume it was. I don't actually know off the top of my head. I don't know if it was Recon or Disruption or what, but I could see Demons being able to play Taken Hold okay. So they might be able to see some of that.
kind
Um,
of kind of makes me sad, honestly. Like I like the chaos attachments that allow allied demons. I think they're really cool. Like what's the word? Like not necessarily lore wise, but like immersion, I guess.
yeah, it makes
Really cool to
sense.
see. Yeah, it's really cool to see them working together and for their favorite god.
Mhm.
And it just I don't want them broken, but also I want them to be playable because I just think it's unique play style.
Yeah, hopefully it
I,
is still playable. I'm not sure though, especially for the EC one, but we'll get to that when we get to them.
as a non-demon enjoyer, I think if they took Chaos Demons and broke them up to where, okay, if you're playing Emperor's Children, you had access to the Demonettes, but no one else had access to them. It would kind of make them more special, more unique. That way, you would have like the add-in detachment should just be part of the army rule for that faction. It
Yeah,
shouldn't have to be like a special detachment. You can just always ally in 1,000
I'm
demons or
hoping that
whatever.
I'm hoping that's what they do in the next codex for all the traitor legions, the main chaos legions. Just because um I mean, I'll get to when we get to EC, but I don't play the demons because I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of these just to find out that the next codex that we don't get to do that anymore. And also, I don't really want to be forced into playing one detachment to play them. Although perhaps in 11th, it'll just be a 1 DP type thing, and then it is basically in the entire army. So we will see. But as far as Chaos Demons players only, they definitely had a good run this last month, and they've been punished for their hubris. So we'll see where they land on that one. Next up, Chaos Knights. We'll pull up their win rates here. It is not going to be as strong as Chaos Demons. We can see Chaos Knights in WTC. They were brought for 3 whole armies with a 40% win rate, 40.5. So not great. And then overall, as a faction, in the data slate, at least at the GT level, they won at 42%. with no event wins. So long and short of it, not doing great.
Yeah, definitely not. You see that just with point slashes across the board, the despoiler going down, not only the actual despoiler going down, but also -5 for each battle cannon.
Yeah, which notably is not
Like,
the weapon that they were using in 10th edition as much.
yeah,
Like they would come up, it was usually the Gatling cannon. But yeah, the battle cannons are only 15 points or 10 or 15 extra now per battle cannon, where the Gatling, I believe, is still a 25 point cost. So if you take both, it's 50. But overall, the main chassis going down 20. And then, yeah, if you take two battle cannons, it's 30 points cheaper than it was before. Atropos and Lance are going down. Rampage are going down 10. The notable one for me is I know we have a team member, Brandon, who has been playing this build, and then also my roommate, Mike, who will be coming to LVO, and he's going to be more involved in the team, is been doing the Hound Pack with Cultist build, and he got basically functionally an entire extra War Dog in his build from Brigands going down 5 and Carnivores going down 10, because he was already taking like 9 or 10 of those. So he basically got close to 100 points, and he just moved some stuff around. He gets a whole extra dog. So that build got quite a bit better. And then also, you can see in the rules changes, they have a 2 DP War Dog detachment and then a 1 DP that was not able to be taken together because they had a unique tag that got taken off. So if you want to just go back to early 10th edition, only bring War Dogs, it gets even stronger because you have a full 3 DP detachment essentially that you can bring. So we'll see where they shake out. I do like
yeah,
the 11 War Dog and 60 Cultist build type thing. I think it's a really interesting list, especially for like a teams build for us looking into LVTT next year. Like that is an annoying combination of data sheets and bulk to have to chew through. That some armies can do it, but some armies, it's hard to kill cultists really quickly and 14 wound 5 up invuln rhinos in bulk
yeah.
very quickly. So I think it's an interesting build, and it got even better today.
Yeah, personally, I don't understand why they like, oh, these two detachments that would like really supercharge this one like archetype in your army. We're just gonna make it so you can't do that. So you kind of get like mediocre rules or okay rules.
Yeah, I
Like,
think they were afraid of things being too strong if they got buffed too much. But I mean, you'll see it here. We'll see it later when we get to Death Guard. They're starting to like strip that away and just be
yeah,
like, yeah, whatever. Just make your Giga list, because right now, it's not being taken too much. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe we'll come back in 3 weeks and be like, the War Dogs are everywhere. Make them stop. But I doubt it. But we'll see. But definitely a good buff for them, and clearly needed. They haven't been seen in numbers, and they haven't been seen, win rate wise either. I still think their bigs probably lag behind a bit. These points decreases help them, but I,
yeah,
my friend, and if I was talking to Brandon, if we were going to a teams tournament right now and we were taking Chaos Knights, it would be War Dog heavy, I think.
yeah. And also like as a faction being like having a battle shock be a part of your army rule essentially is just kind of
Better in
like
11th, better in 11th,
well,
but
as we saw with Orc Codex, they can just go, "Hey, you're no longer battle shocked, and you
nah,
get to
fam.
law." And yeah,
Nah,
it's like, "Oh, you put so much effort into it. Guess what? Nah."
better do it on your turn, because on my turn I say no. But yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see where they're at. Definitely worth. If you're a Chaos Knight fan, you have some extra points in your list. So, and if you want to
free
if
War
you want to
Dogs.
go all War Dogs, yeah, you get a free War Dog. And if you want to go all War Dogs, you can go supercharge War Dogs. So we'll see where it comes out. I'm perfectly happy with this, and looking forward to see where they come out. Good old Chaos Space Marines. Not a ton of changes for them. It was basically just some disposition changes and defilers continuing to go up because people keep playing them. We can look at their win rates real quick. I know when we did our WTC review, which is the win rates on the right again, this was one of our standouts. Like, we were surprised they did so poorly because they were at 35% win rate with 15 players. So they were fairly well regarded enough that the top teams in the world were taking them at decent numbers, not top tier numbers, not as as high as some like Demons, Emperor's Children, etc. But 35%, pretty low, one of the lowest ones. The lowest win rate with any army with that level of player base, anyway. And then looking to their overall play in the data slate, we can see that they were at a 49.5 win rate, but they did win 4 events, so kind of seemed like middle of the pack. So I'm surprised they got so few changes. Dustin, I know you've been lightly looking into CSM. Any thoughts here? I know it hasn't been your focus, but it seemed like they just kind of shrugged and said, defilers, stop. But that's about it.
Well, from what I've been seeing, and I've been toying around with some CSM lists, they're starting to gain the Death Guard issue of everything is just so expensive now.
Everything's too
Abaddon
expensive.
with Chosen
Yeah.
is crazy. Huron with Chosen is crazy expensive. Defilers, they're running out of units, and um, it's unfortunate, but now that the Helldrake lost aircraft keyword, we're saved, right? So
We are so
they
back,
definitely need
folks.
some love, but CSM is one of those armies that is also super easy to be busted, in my opinion. Like
Abaddon
I think
Castle.
Abaddon with the Hellbrute put in X tank
Right.
vehicle, and it's insane. So
X gun platform or a pocket Hellbrute
yep,
or whatever.
Perhaps
yep.
both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got so little changes. I wonder if some of this is kind of anticipating the changes they will get kind of backdoored with the Space Marine Codex that they've mentioned, and so they're just kind of not doing much until that all hits the
I
game.
so
Not sure.
I think the big thing here, Murder Talon Raiders changed to Recon. I think that's going to be the move. I think CSM are going to turn into a power armor, Drukhari essentially, and play Recon and spam that.
Yeah, I
Where
could
it's
see
just a
that.
bunch of Raptors
Uppy
and
Downy and
with special
surrounding the board.
weapons and Epi Downies, and yep, I think that's going to be the next wave of craziness from CSM personally, but we'll have to wait and see.
That we will. And that brings us to crash out number 1 of the video, probably. We've got Death Guard Dustin on the podcast, and we are here to discuss Death Guard. They got a lot of changes. Their list is definitely longer than CSM. That was much more involved. Quickly, can look at their win rates. So at WTC, brought 6 times, 46.4. So definitely not taken in high numbers. Not great, but not basement level win rates, but not exciting. And then overall in the data slate itself, 42.5% win rate, so relatively low. No event wins, so not doing great, I wouldn't say, overall. And we have the changes up on the screen if you're watching the video version. Dustin, you want to take us away and let us know what you think?
Yeah, so I'll preface all of my complaints with some of the points changes I really, really, I really like. Um, for example, Mortarion going down another 15 is very good. Blight Haulers going down is always awesome. Blight Lords, I'd like to see them go down a little bit more than just 10 points for 10. There's still 360 points with no character. Um, and that just kind of advocates to the problem that I think Death Guard's having as far as we just don't have enough units and activations to do well. Like our data sheets are good, but we're just lacking units. And like you'll see the contagion engines is now reconnaissance. I mean, that's cool, but I just don't think unless you're running 9 demon engines and you're going to score a little bit, but it's just a rhino with the 5 up invuln, right? Like it's not enough. I don't know. It just feels bad. And then the contagion change. Uh, I mean, I guess there's a super slight more reason to not take -1 save, but it's not enough. It's not even close to me still. Like
No, you take
giving
-1 save unless you're playing
yeah,
demons or something, Necron spam potentially. Yeah, you're taking -1 save.
right. It's just cool. I have cover if you're 6 inches in front of me, or 9 or 12 even in some cases, but it's like it's just not enough, especially with like okay, I've got this Riptide, 10 inches from me because I was gone to ground, so he's going to shoot me now. But hey, you're in contagion, so I have cover. And he's like, joke's on you. I ignore cover. Or the
Yeah,
6-man noise marines that just hopped out that
yeah.
surprise attacked me because
Or
they
my
move as
or
fast
my
as they want
defiler that
to,
ignores mods, so I
and
don't give
it's
a shit.
just
Yeah.
yeah, like this is just a waste of time. There's too much ignores cover in the game for this to be super relevant, in my opinion. So yeah, it's still looking bad. It's just they have it as a winner here. Sure, I guess. Like it's a winner in the sense there's a bunch of points decreases, but it's just not enough. Like
Yeah, you're
I think
cheaper
I
than you were
gained
yesterday, but not what you were hoping for potentially.
You're not
I
free
think I
war dog
gained
cheaper.
right. I think I gained 25 points on my newest list that I've been like toying with. And now my list is just stuck at 1975 because there's no enhancements that I want or can really take, and now I have to redo the whole list. So I'm like, this is just
I mean,
not enough.
I will say, glass half full. There might be some sauce in there that you gotta cook up with all of these points drops and be able to fit things in. But I will also admit I don't think this fundamentally changes you either. It's better than nothing. You didn't get more expensive. Your problem's not worse, but it's probably not the
Our Defiler did.
the panacea. That's true. I mean, everyone's look. The defilers will
The
get
second
increased until you
defiler.
stop taking two. That's
My
essentially
Defiler
James
hits on fours,
Workshop's.
dude,
Yeah,
with no
look.
rerolls.
I am not arguing
I
for or
can't
against
ignore
your defiler.
mods.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what it does. The second one's getting more expensive unless you're world eaters. That is the only
Right.
out.
Death Guard should be 300 base, like with the good guns. Just give us a World Eater's price, and it's fine. We have no rerolls, and we hit on fours. Like, cry about it, I guess. I don't know.
Look, I don't make the rules here. I don't necessarily disagree with you. All defilers should go down. Totally not personally motivated.
I think all defilers should triple in price. 900 points. Warhound Titan.
So, to also, if anyone's listening to this and looking for Death Guard advice, and you want to talk about Mortarian's Hammer, I will talk to you about it, but I am not an advocate for Mortarian's Hammer. I've never enjoyed the detachment in itself, and it is cute that you can now pair it with giving assault to all the drones and whatnot, and you can play reconnaissance with it. Um, but it's just not a play style that I like whatsoever. But we can have a conversation about it. I'm not super excited for that change personally.
That probably is
That's why
the
I kind
build
of
that
passed
gained the
over it.
most here, right? The Mortarian's Hammer. You take two plague burst crawlers, you take a bunch of blight haulers, you take your drones, you slap on the contagion engines with it as well, and then maybe something maybe something tasty comes out of it. That seems to be what,
We still have no
reading all of this,
like.
what got benefited the most. I'm not saying it's the best build, but that seems to be what they were trying to improve for whatever.
Which is weird because they were so quick to shut it down when the codex dropped, and now we're going right back to where we were slowly, and it's like no one wants to play with three plague burst crawlers, or against, I should say.
Against, yeah, some people do want to play with it, but yeah, Death Guard in the right direction, but maybe not all the way. But we'll see.
Sub 45% win rate for the next month. I would be willing to bet on.
Yeah, I'll be slightly positive and say you might crack 46, but I doubt
Nah, 30%.
it. Somehow gets worse.
Yeah. I think
We're
when the
worse
Death
than
Guard Codex,
agents.
right? I think when the Death Guard Codex comes out, it's going to be one of the rare instances where it's like, you actually get more stuff.
Also, quickly should note, Lamb, guard, tank guard enjoyer extraordinaire, painter of the team has joined us, so you will hear his thoughts as well. But any final thoughts, Dustin, on the Death Guard?
You know, I guess the only hope that I have is with these, you know, allegations, I guess, of Space Marines and like every army becoming more elite. Maybe like they'll lose enough units and activations to kind of balance out the disparity that Death Guard is feeling like they have, and games will feel better on both sides, on the Death Guard side, I should say. And it'll make more sense. But right now, again, I just feel like we're short at least 3 units, even if they're 3 Poxwalkers. So everyone go play Shammelrot and get your Poxwalkers, and you can actually play the game.
Get your Poxwalkers here, that type of.
Yeah. Death Guard Codex, that's a 1 DP detachment. Take it every time. Free real estate.
Oh, that'd be insane. That'd be so insane.
We'll see. We'll see how long you have to wait. That's the real question all of us are facing now that we're seeing the power creep and kind of the changes. Some of them getting pushed through the game. Like if you're Space Marine or Chaos Space Marine, everybody's getting toughness 5, but you're probably not getting the better data sheets. So how long will it take? The haves and the have-nots. We'll find out. All right. After all those green men, we'll talk about some Emperor's Children. So that is my army of choice at the moment. Decently long list of changes. We'll go over their win rates. WTC, they were tied for the highest taken army along with Orks, although they won at significantly lower rates than Orks. Just 46.6%, which isn't terrible, but at that level of play rate, it would at least suggest that that's fairly accurate, at least at the top level. Over on the overall data slate, they won at 51, basically 52%, so a little above 50%, and they won 6 tournaments. So certainly not doing terrible, but I don't think they were running the game by any means either, although them being taken that much at WTC definitely might suggest otherwise. But then they won at 46%, so maybe everybody was just wrong. Everything up here for Emperor's Children. But most of this is just carried over from the Slaanesh Demons changes, because there were a lot of Emperor's Children players who were playing the Carnival of Excess, which was the Emperor's Children, you take your Slaaneshi Demons and build them in. So a lot of points lost there. I personally was not playing that. For those players who did, not only did they lose a lot of points in their list, they also Carnival of Excess was changed to Disruption, kind of everyone agrees is the worst attachment. Now Disposition. Carnival is a 2DP detachment, and it was often taken with Frenzied Host. Frenzied Host is Recon, and that is also what Carnival of Excess was playing anyway. So if you're playing those two together, you're probably still playing Recon, and nothing changed, except you lost a lot of points because Demonettes, Fiends, Keeper of Secrets, Seekers, all up. Most of those lists were taking at least 4 Demonette units, so 40 points there. Any Fiends, any Keepers, any Seekers up more. And then basically every Emperor's Children's list lost at least 20 points from the 2 Lord Exultants that was basically standard. They went up 10, so they're now 90 points per. And then we got the same second Defiler, so if you're bringing 2, it's 10 more points. So overall, the last list I ran at an RTT went up 30 points, 20 points for Lord Exultants, 10 points for I was running 2 Defilers. The list that I wanted to change to after playing that tournament and was already kind of kicking around in my head went up 20 points, 2 Lord Exultants. So I lost an enhancement. So really not a big deal. I will note here that they say that Coterie of the Conceited changed to priority assets. That happened last data slate. I don't know why it's listed here. It's just wrong. But whatever. Overall, I'm not too mad about these changes. I think the demon detachment was being taken a lot and kind of spammed. So I think these changes are fair. I think the disposition changes don't matter at all. Defiler going up for the second one, I'd rather see them put those plus 10 points on the second one instead of tacking it on the first, because I think that is the whole point of taking, the spam tax and building into the game is allow people to take one but not take many. Fine with that. I would say that the Lord Exultant going up is not necessary. I don't think EC was winning at a crazy high rate. Yes, basically every EC list was taking at least 2 of these, if not 3. I will note if you take a third, it was already 10 points more. So that went from 90 points to 100 points. They're a really good model. They make infractors hit quite a lot harder. The reality, though, is that EC doesn't really have anything to pivot to because they are just a very small data sheet pool, especially if you're not playing with the demons. So I don't think it's necessary, but at the end of the day, losing 20 points, which is what I would lose, I can handle it, at least in my lists. And some people for EC, it's going to be annoying because EC doesn't pivot super well because, again, they don't have a lot of data sheets. So having to trim 20 points out of your list if you're not using enhancements can be tough. And then on the other side, when we get a free 20 points, sometimes it's like hard to make that actually stick because you don't have anything good to swap something in for. I have been rambling. A lot of my point here, though, is that it's not a huge change for EC. The demon stuff is probably warranted. I think the Lord Exultant wasn't, but it's also not going to break the bank. So I think EC is fine.
Yeah.
Can EC take Heldrakes?
They can.
Oh,
No one
they're
does,
fixed.
but they
Good.
can. True, just like CSM. Drop a
Yeah.
Defiler, take a Helldrake. Problem solved.
Yep.
Exactly.
All
For
right.
EC, like playing against them, like I've never really felt like they were like an oppressive army to play against. You know, it's not like the unnerved orcs where it's like, this is gonna really suck.
They are nowhere near the best army in the game, and they have not been
Yeah.
since it came out. I think they're a popular army, and I think they're a good army. But it's also, it feels even worse because I think they match up particularly poorly into orcs. Because although I don't think we are not as far as on the side of Death Guard, like Dustin is mentioning, where EC is not too elite, but EC is still fairly elite at the end of the day. And we don't have cultists, like we don't have the Poxwalker equivalents. We don't have cheap trading units. Or at least most of the lists haven't been playing with them. So I think EC has a fairly low margin for error most of the time. Although I can understand why, when an EC list is cooking and you're playing against it, it can feel oppressive because they're just fast. You're flying out everywhere. Things are dropping behind you. The demon princes are not dying. The defilers are ignoring mods. Like, I can see why people, get overwhelmed by it. But I mean, I would be perfectly happy to sit here and say that, yeah, my army is broken. I don't think EC is broken. I think that they have pros, they have cons, and that's why I think the Lord Exultant really didn't need to go up. I mean, again, just looking at the win rates, they were winning 52%. So maybe they needed a little tone down, but I would argue that a lot of the win rate that you see here was probably being carried by the demon stuff that definitely did get toned down. So I don't think the Lord Exultant needed to go up, but I'm also not like burned down the castle about it. But yeah, I think they're perfectly fine. I think they're fun to play. I think that they're typically fun to play against. Maybe not for Death Guard in Dustin's case, because we kind of needle at the biggest problem of Death Guard, which is they're slow as shit. So I just run away from them, and there's nothing you can do about it. But in general, we're a fairly elite army made of Space Marines that die. So you can beat EC. That's kind of my thoughts. But I will keep playing them nonetheless because they are fun. So I will be taking them to LVO, and if this is the list I have to take them with, I think it's fine. On to the next Traitor Legion, the Thousand Sons. Not a ton of changes, but they are all negative if you're a Thousand Sons player. Bring up the win rates again. I would say that they were another fairly underperforming army at WTC. 24 players, fairly high. 42.6% win rate. We kind of mentioned at the time that the WTC lists did not get a lot of time between the July data slate and when their list lock was for WTC. So maybe some of the Thousand Sons struggles were that they didn't have time to build after the last data slate, which did admittedly hit them quite hard in a number of different ways. Points up, disposition changes, detachments going from 2DP to 3DP. Like, there was a lot of changes that were all basically universally negative. Their Defiler rule got changed and made worse. So they did not win super well at the WTC. However, looking at their overall win rate for the data slate, technically slightly higher than EC, but not by much at 52.5, although they only won 2 events where EC, as a direct comparison, won 6. So not doing terrible, but I definitely don't think they were a problem in the meta. But, they have a Defiler, so it went up 10 points, and then a lot of their characters just went up 5 points, 10 points. So overall, they're more expensive. Not sure that was necessary.
I think the reason,
but
I think T-Sense just keeps going up because they're like a mid-table bully at a lot of just regular events, because they don't interact with the 11th edition in like the normal way. They're one of the armies that really take advantage of the 11th edition changes, just like Tau and Demons. So I just think that they're still problematic, just not in like the highest level of competition.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think we played some games against Noah, our T-Sons player, the start of 11th edition. It was like, this is really strong. The stuff with the robots was honestly busted, but that got kind of toned down and worked back.
Yep.
I mean, again, I don't think these are massive changes. These are like relatively online with EC, where it's like your characters get a little more expensive, so you probably lose like 20 to 30 points depending on what you were playing. I would guess it's like relatively similar. Not a huge change. I don't think it's necessarily super warranted based on the data, but I do think that there is some credence to the fact that, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're a newish player, if you're on a mid-level table like Lamb said, like, this is an army that will just melt your face off because their damage is high, armor AP is high, they'll double move when you don't expect it, they'll have Magnus, they can be I would argue, I mean, again, I might be biased, you guys can correct me, but we just mentioned this about EC. I think a really cooking Thousand Sons list can feel a lot more oppressive than Emperor's Children, because Emperor's Children cheats, but like in a advance a charge, advance a shoot, fallback charge, like most armies have access to this, so you can like kind of get your head around it. But Thousand Sons cheat in a way that's like, wait, plus 2 AP and you're moving twice and you're doing 12 mortals to me on a drive-by and your battle line is a 5-up invuln. I don't know. I feel like that they can feel more oppressive than EC, but
Yeah, you definitely get scammed harder by T-Sun. They also have access to more invulnerable saves on more of their core units.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like you can trade against EC and World Eaters all day. Like those stuff falls over. T-Sun, so you just get scammed all day.
Yeah, and they have a massive built-in battle line Overwatch threat.
Sure,
if
yeah,
you're like
flamers
a
out the ass, yeah.
Yeah, so many flamers, so much nonsense. I'm really looking forward to the Thousand Sons Codex because I really think, from what we've seen with the Orc Codex, with not being able to cast spells while battle shocked, one makes me super nervous for Tyranids that Shadows in the Warp is not going away, and it's going to make me extremely sad.
Save
but
this
two,
man, GW.
Yeah, but two, it means like Thousand Sons, you're not just going to be like, do whatever the fuck you want whenever you want. All my shit dies for free constantly. Like, there's no way to interact with it. Like, when I'm playing against Emperor's Children, I'm just going to multi-charge as many things as I can. So that way you can't fall back and charge me.
Yep.
And like, I can interact with your army roll. But Thousand Sons, as it sits right now, it's like, oh, cool. I'm a Doombolt. All right, Doombolt again. All right, move. All right, move again. All right. Okay.
I charge
So you can do that.
I charge your Terminator brick. I kill them all. The Sorcerer and Terminator armor is left on 1 wound, and then that dude in your turn can stand in place and kill a Demon Prince with a Doombolt, or give you reroll hit, give you Oath of Moment, or give you plus 2 AP. He doesn't have to fall back. He's battle shock. Doesn't matter. It is kind of insane.
Yep. He can still shoot, charge, and do an action.
Yeah, he can. I can pick up your dry cleaning while he's at it. Dude's cracked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, pro, this army can be kind of nuts, so it being a little expensive, I'm fine with. Con, I'm not sure it's completely warranted, but I don't play Thousand Sons, so I will give this a thumbs up. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. All right.
The Helldrakes, dude.
True. Thank you, Dustin, for pointing out that they do have Helldrakes, so perhaps all is saved. In Helldrake, we trust. All right. Final Traitor Legion. Very quick here. Some disposition changes, and Khorne Berserkers down 10 points. Looking at their win rates, not heavily taken at WTC, only 6 armies, 37% win rate, so relatively low. And then the data slate as a whole, 48.5%, 1 event win. Certainly not lighting up the screen, but not like super terrible, at least in the data slate as a whole. Kind of surprised it was so low here, or so minimal here. Just Khorne Berserkers down 10 points. Now that is a unit, if you're a World Eaters player, that you would love to see go down. So, also they changed the rule. Karn only kills his people if he's on the battlefield. Aw. I'm sad about that. That was just funny. Come on, GW, have a little whimsy. It's bad, it's
definitely on purpose.
But
right.
Him just being in a battle, Rhino just being pissed off that he's not in the fight, that's kind of funny.
True, yeah. I mean, having Brazen Engines change from Purge the Foe to Disruption kind of sucks, because like if it was like Purge the Foe to like Recon, it's like, oh, it's not too bad, it's kind of an upgrade. Disruption is not an upgrade.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's a 2 DP, so you might be able to save it with something else, but yeah. Really,
Yeah.
if you see anything, just if people want to like kind of read the data slate, if it ever says change from blank to disruption, that is bad. You don't want that. But I think that wraps us up for Chaos. Not a lot to say here. Corn Berserker's down. Good for World Eaters. Karn not killing his homies until he's on the battlefield. Good for World Eaters. But this, I don't think this is going to fundamentally change the game. I think they're going to be about where they were. So we'll see. But that finishes off Chaos. So we move over to the Imperium. And one of my favorite armies to start off, Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle. So you'll notice points changes, disposition changes, nothing there, but a long list of the rules changes. Before we go into them, their win rates for the last data slate. Only 3 Sisters armies made it to WTC at a 47.6% win rate. So they did perfectly okay. Not great, not bad, but clearly not thought of very highly as they were not brought very frequently. And then in the last data slate, right at about 50%, 49.5, 1 event win. So certainly not lighting up the screen, not doing terrible. A lot of changes last data slate with points drops and changing how some of the detachment worked, making Bringers of Flame 2 DP instead of 3. Here, kind of different sets of changes. First of all, the huge one, the final nerf from the December 2024 data slate that completely slaughtered Sisters after their codex has been undone. So now Sister players go back to where they were when their codex released. We get a miracle dice at the start of every turn rather than the round. So for the free miracle dice that you get just for playing Sisters is now gone from 5 to 10 a game. Miracle dice definitely were not being generated as much in 11th edition because characters no longer count as a second unit. So for those of you who don't know, one of the ways that Sisters players get miracle dice, which is the dice they get to roll and then they put it in a tray and then they get to use it to cheat and make their opponents want to quit the game later, was when one of their units dies. So in 10th edition, if you had a unit that was led by 2 characters and they all died, that was 3 miracle dice. But in 11th edition, that is 1 miracle dice. So the miracle dice economy was definitely stonks down. But now, at the very least, you're getting 5 extra. So we'll take it. And I'm happy to see the last big army rule change undone from that fucking terrible data slate that slaughtered the army for the first 6 months that I played it is now gone, and good riddance. Some of the other changes. Sorry, go ahead, Ricardo.
See, before, it was definitely they were getting a lot of miracle dice in 10th edition with that before this
Yeah,
change when like
yeah.
the codex first came out. It was like, oh man, you always have a 6. Cool.
Well, because
There
like I
goes my
said, it
rupture
was
cannon.
every character
Yeah.
that died, and every you get 2, one at the start of every turn. Every character that died would give you an extra one. You play Hallowed Martyr, so you have a character die, it gives you extra miracle dice when it dies. You res it, it dies again. You're getting extra miracle dice. Like the engine was definitely different in 10th edition.
Yeah.
But
with 11th edition, the character thing going to like the way how characters die, the unit's not dead till like the last model in the unit's dead, regardless if it was like a character, right, or something. So you only get 1. So like I don't hate this change as like a person that plays against Sisters, right? Like miracle dice still don't feel good. It feels kind of like Aeldari fate dice where it's like cool. It's the threat of the 6 is more um like a mental issue that I need to like fucking just kind of bite that pill. It's like, oh, where am I going to get screwed? Because I know it's coming, kind of thing. Then kind of like just,
yeah,
oh yeah, I get to like, oh, like I think if it was instead of miracle dice, like you just get that face on whatever the die is, whatever you rolled. If it's like a free re-roll and you get to re-roll it,
yeah,
however
some
many
sort of
times you
buff
want.
that's not necessarily an exact 6, but yeah.
Yeah. So like if it was like kind of like the fate dice with the Tzeentch demons where you just re-roll anything, but for Sisters you could re-roll it however many times you wanted till you got that miracle, like it could be like, oh, my 3rd prayer, it worked, to get it. Then I wouldn't feel so bad about like playing against it.
Yeah, I mean, as a Sisters player, like Miracle Dice is a cool mechanic. Lore-wise, it fits perfectly. I fully accept that it feels bad to play against, regardless of its actual impact on the game. Because I would argue that Miracle Dice can be balanced, and I think they frequently are balanced. Because what the non-Sisters player doesn't realize is that most Sisters data sheets are kind of ass because they have to be balanced around the fact that you can cheat. So you don't feel that as the other player, though. I know as a Sisters player, but that all that said is that it never feels great. Like Ricardo said, like, oh, I'm using my casino cannon into your tank. Oh, it hits finally. Oh, it wounds finally. Oh, okay. So you have a 6-up invuln because everything in Sisters has at least a 6-up invuln. And oh, you have a 6. Okay, so you save, and now it goes to nothing. I understand that feels bad. So I wouldn't mind when the Sisters Codex comes out if they rework it some way to be like a miracle points system where you can, it's not necessarily you roll a 6, you keep a 6. Maybe it's you get a certain number of points, and then those points can be turned into passing a charge
Turn
or
them
some
in,
sort
you
of something.
cash them in.
Exactly. It's fucking put a down payment on a house. Like, I don't know. But that can be a discussion for another day. But I will say I do think that this is a fair change for Sisters because the Miracle Dice economy was feeling pretty strained in 11th, just with the lower number of units in the game. Means that we were just getting fewer dice, and it can feel bad, especially if you don't have like Triumph giving you an auto 6. Like there's also there's the game where the Sisters opponent sees you only roll 6s on your Miracle Dice, and you're like, your army is extremely busted. And then there's the games where, as a Sisters player, you don't roll above a 3, let's say round 4 of LVO, for example, and then you never really have an army rule, and you just get steamrolled by Black Templars. Again, as a random example that, yeah, so that can happen. But yeah, more dice seems totally fair to me. Happy to see it. And yeah, just personally as a vendetta for me, because I basically started playing Sisters seriously in December of 2024, seeing that Dataslate now put to rest. Good riddance. May it never happen again. Moving on to some of the other changes. Would you gentlemen believe that Celestian Incidents and Celestian Sacrosancts had basically no buffs that that were shared or anything, despite them sharing that keyword? Because that was how it was, but it has now been changed to where a lot of the things that buff Celestian Sacrosancts now also buff the Incidents. Not everything, notably a lot of the stratagems in Champions of Faith still only buff Sacrosancts, not Incidents, but there is some more play with the Incident units, which is the kill team that was added to Sisters late in 10th edition. So people that like those units now, they have some options to get buffed where they didn't before.
It's a pretty fun unit to play with a priest, I will say.
Yeah, I'm totally down for it. I still haven't run them, and I'm not like seriously playing Sisters at the moment, so I won't benefit from this immediately. But I think it also just like it's one of those like it makes sense. Why call them Celestians and then not work them in with Sacrosancts in some way where there's 2 detachments that buff Sacrosancts? Maybe should also work with Incidents. That would be cool. So that's kind of what they're doing. On the downside, Celestine, you'll notice, got nerfed here pretty heavily. So Celestine, the way that her resurrection works is that she can revive herself once if she rolls a 2. And then also in your command phase, you could re-roll or revive her bodyguard models. She has built-in bodyguard, which are called the Gemini Superior. So if she is running with them, she could res one of them. But you could also attach her to other jump pack sisters. So you give her some Seraphim or some Zephyrim. And if that was in the unit, she can also res them. They have now just completely removed that. She can still lead those units, but she's not resing any Seraphim or Zephyrim. Only her Gemini, which was, to be clear, something she could already do. So now she just can't do the bodyguards. And you'll notice that the like reward she got for losing that rule is fuck all, because her points didn't go down and nothing got buffed. So, and she also wasn't being taken anyway. So RIP, one of the coolest looking models in the game. I guess you sit on the shelf for at least another month.
She's too expensive right now.
Yeah, she's
Like,
150
really
points. She
hoping she'd
doesn't
come
kill
down.
anything. And so there was an argument for her to come down without her. I mean, a very serious argument that I would stand behind for her to come down in points without her rule changing. Then it got worse for no real reason, just because.
But she can get hidden now. So definitely raise her points.
Yeah.
Like,
she is something that I'm just, she's kind of in my Fulgrim category, where I'll paint her for the Sisters Codex and hope that she gets a good data sheet then, because I'm not expecting it before then. So RIP. Again, one of the coolest looking models in the game. Love Celestine. Would love to see her on the table. This seems like a random drive-by for no reason. So good talk.
yeah, I played her in 10th, and she actually did nothing but just annoyed people.
She was perfectly fine in 10th as like exactly like she'll just fly over, she'll be annoying, she'll gum me up, she'll do but she's not a hammer by any means. Like, I don't know. And also her Feel No Pain got worse in 11th because of how the fast save thing works. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. She needs a rework. Still love Celestine, but won't be playing her. Also, Divine Intervention got touched up a bit where essentially the wording was written such that if you were precisioned out of a unit in Hallowed Martyrs, you couldn't use the Divine Intervention stratagem because it said when a character unit died, not character model. They changed it to be character model. Now, the problem with that is they changed the way healing works where it no longer rejoins the unit. So, for example, if you go up and precision out a Hospitaller out of a Sacrosanct unit in Hallowed Martyrs, I can now res the Hospitaller when I couldn't a week ago, but she still doesn't join the Sacrosanct, so I'm not going to do that, so I don't give a shit. So, I don't know. Fixed a bug.
More miracle dice.
Changed nothing. Yeah, I'm probably not spending a CP for 1 miracle dice typically. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, positive. Love the miracle dice change. The list I'm playing, I just get more miracle dice. Nothing else changes. R.I.P. Celestine. We'll see you in the future. I hope. Custodes. This is the Folger Piles dominated WTC and War Master data slate for you all. So the win rates, WTC 21 Custodes players went 56.5% win rate. Folger Piles 7-0, also won War Masters, which is a singles event before WTC, so quite good. Overall, in their full win rate for the data slate, they were at 53.4%, fairly high. 6 event win rates, pretty decent. So overall, they were doing well, especially if your name was Folger. So essentially, main changes, they hammered Folger's list. I think his list went up like quite a bit because he was running a lot of custodians and maxing them out. So he took a big nerf. If you're not completely maxing out custodians, not a huge change. Praetors, 25 points more expensive on the 3rd unit. The disposition changes. Lions of the Emperor went up to 3 DP. Completely warranted. Insane that detachment was 2 DP to begin with. It also becomes Taken Hold. I will note that this was the disposition or the detachment that Folger was playing at WTC, and he also took Might of the Mortore. Didn't take any of the Dreadnoughts or Walkers or whatever. He took it purely so he could play Taken Hold. So Lions now is 3 DP and can play Taken Hold, but you don't get the extra thing. So again, if you're Folger Piles, not much changed except you lose some models. For everyone else,
he was taking the Tempters.
Oh, sorry. Okay, fair. But now he can just take that anyway, and it doesn't matter because he can play Taken Hold. I think that was still the main reason to take Might of the Mortore, was to swap.
Yeah, dropping the Dreadnoughts just fills in the points plus some.
Yeah, he's probably got some extra stuff.
It's not going to change much.
I will say, before I pass it over to Lamb, who's been experimenting with Custodes, Lions again, changing, completely warranted. That detachment being 2 DP was honestly offensive. So the fact that it's not makes sense. Lamb, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Lions didn't really have any like synergy with Might, so this change is essentially like just a lateral change, like you said.
Yeah,
right? It's a
you wanted to take it to play Taken Hold, so
exactly, yeah, and they were getting and the point changes actually makes a lot of sense. Like and like previously, like Games Workshop are pretty notorious for like one guy winning some event with the list and then just
look at that list and it's going up 100 points guaranteed. Yep.
Yeah, but this is actually really reasonable. They did like the absolute most reasonable thing. They added tax for the 3rd unit, which is great. Like you shouldn't be taking 18 Alluris Terminators unless you're literally going into like WTC ready to face nothing but demons. Like if that was your job to go to WTC and fight demons, okay, you bring a bunch of Alluris Terminators, right? But everywhere else, like you shouldn't be doing that in the first place because presumably there's other things to fight than demons, right? So this is actually a really great change, I think. Same with the bike unit, the tax added for the 3rd unit. Honestly, like the bikes are really good in like smaller packages. So like really the 3rd unit is just for like the spam list, which is fine, right? If you're playing like 12 bikes and stuff, then paying another 25 point to play 12 bikes is just what you want to do.
These changes are exactly what you want to see. It's
very reasonable.
Heavily tax the Uber spam and maybe do a little bit of adjustment if the unit's just too good. But if people bring like 1 unit, maybe 2, it's not crazy. It's only if you're like hey, I'm only bringing this, that they start being like, all right, all right, take some points out of your list there, bud.
Yeah, yeah. These are some great changes. I think this is definitely going to be, you're still playing Purge with Shield Host, because I believe Mire the Mortar changed to Disruption. So
At
so
least according to
you're
this,
gonna
it didn't, but they might not have noted it. So that is
yeah,
possible.
there were another disposition change that's not noted here. And but yeah, I mean, I think if you're playing Purge, the Allure Terminators are still insane, because like being able to pop around the board, reroll chart, stuff like that is really good for Purge. But if you're just playing Shield Host, like you're still going to be doing the same take and hold stuff that you've always been doing with Shield and Moratoy. So really not much changed. Like pretty much the exact same army as before.
Just real quick, just pulled up the MFM. Might is still taking hold.
Oh yeah, Might is still taking hold. I think it's a hammer of the Thanatoy. That's the one that's changed to Disruption. That's the Terminator detachment that
Oh yeah, yep.
To get to split with the that one.
Cool. All right, Custodes more expensive, but not that much more expensive. And again, I'm not saying that it was a major change, but the Lions detachment rule is insane. So that being 2DP was nuts. So the fact that it's fixed, I'm here for it. Admech. 1 second. Okay, Admech. Not a ton of changes here. We got some Taraxis going down, so that's their birds. Really good units, especially if you bring a lot of them. So them being cheaper is always good for Admech. They're really good for pushing down the board and kind of jailing people, scoring a lot of points coming out of Deep Strike. Dominus, which the Tech Priest Dominus, which sees a lot of play, down 5 points. Castellan Robots, down a little further. Servitor Battleclade, 10-point tax if you bring 3 of them. Not a huge change.
I don't even know what that is.
That is their kill team that came out in 10th edition alongside the was a Tyranid thing, right? That was the hybrid, the Raveners. Yep.
So that's the servitor unit.
They do like assault or advance and still action and that type of stuff. So they're just like little action piece kill team. So they're pretty good.
I don't think I ever played against those.
Yeah, they're out skittering around. I mean, realistically, Admech is not an army most people play a lot against, because they are the far between, unless it is around Worlds last year where they were absolutely busted and a bunch of people suddenly were Admech players for 2 months and then have not played the army since. Yeah, I don't think any of us know them super well. I think this is perfectly reasonable. Some stuff got cheaper. Nothing else really changed. They should be about where they were. Quickly looking at their win rates, 13 of them were brought to WTC and they did fairly well, 53% win rate. And then for the Dataslate as a whole, 48.5%, 1-4 events. That's really not bad for Admech. They kind of sit, it seems, still kind of a faction specialist type army, but they can definitely still win. And now things are a little cheaper, so they have even more on the table. They can probably win slightly more, probably not a ton more, but shouldn't hurt. Any other thoughts about Admech here from our Admech experts? My guess is no, but speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, the peace has been held. On to the next. Agents of the Imperium. We forgot they existed this month.
Yep.
Maybe next month. Agents, we see you. We know you exist. GW has like enters a fugue state with you, where like randomly they'll be like, oh shit, agents. But this month was not one of those times. Astra Militarum. A lot of changes here.
Oh man.
We have a lot of Admech fans in the channel, because Astra Militarum Guard fans on that channel. Thank you. So yeah, Ricardo and especially Lamb, I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts. Points down quite a bit. Take it away.
You want to go first, Ricardo?
I definitely think with the Astra Militarum, what they've really done is kind of similar to the Chaos Knights, where their stuff is like they've been struggling a little bit with 11th edition, and so they're like, you know what, you just get a free Lehman Rust now, maybe even two, depending on like how hard you're going. You know.
Also, quick, because I didn't bring it up, struggling wise at WTC, 7 people brought them, so not a ton. 55% win rate. So those who did bring them did well, which has kind of been the story of Guard in 11th edition, that if you play them well and you play them a lot, you can kind of squeeze blood from a stone. But I will note that if we go to the data slate as a whole, they were the lowest performing faction overall at 40% win rate. Imperial Agents beating them out, all 88 or 16 players of them. And they also, Guard did not win a GT in that month. So that looks bleak. WTC looks quite a bit better. But yeah, that stat definitely doesn't help the all the Guard players were just dooming. It's really not that bad. That does look pretty bad. So that is why we see so many things cheaper. So back to you, gentlemen.
Yep. The change to recon, where you no longer get your bonus save for having super cover anymore, where if you had cover and you get another instance of cover because your whole army gets cover, you get +1 to your save, which in 10th edition you get, with the actual having cover was a -1 AP, both +1 to your save, and then with the order take cover, so lots of cover happening, you could like essentially have guardsmen saving on 3-ups. That's no longer a thing anymore. You just get stealth. So it kind of went from like, oh, this is like the answer to like shooting armies that aren't Tau or fucking 30 Salamanders with flamers with 3 Redemptor Redeemer land raiders.
Mm-hmm.
It's now just kind of like it's 2DP now. Anything not Titanic gets cover. It has stealth.
Yep.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, like Ricardo said, like if your thought going into this data slate was that you were gonna take your army men dressed in clothes, walking around on foot, and like you're gonna have a good time, and your name is not Nemo, you're still wrong. You're still not gonna have fun if you put guys in clothes on foot on the table and try to shoot your opponent with it, and you're not Nemo. Because like Nemo said in the WTC podcast, every single thing your opponent looks at dies if it's wearing clothes and is walking on foot. That is just the name of the game right now. In 10th edition, you used to be able to save a couple guys, maybe 3-4 guys out of 10, 2-3 guys out of 10, and then they can run around and do other stuff. Now every single thing just dies. Cadian brick
deceased.
dead. Kazarkin brick dead. Right. And so like if your thought was they fixed the 11th edition changes that made guard infantry essentially unplayable, that has not changed. That's still the same.
Exactly, yeah. And so now it's the era of tank guard.
What variety of Lehman Russ would you like to take? Because they're all cheaper now.
Apparently, all of them.
Yeah. That's also, as a
Yeah.
non-guard player, it's always when I see this list, I'm like, God damn, how many Lehman? They got that many Lehman Russes?
It's
Sure
a
do.
lot. It's a lot, yeah. You could take 2 of every Lehman Rust and still have points left over for a Rogal Dorn.
Yep. Well, so like this is actually a really like I think these changes are pretty good for tank guard. Like, and obviously I play tank guard a lot. I played 4 Lehman Russes in my RTT winning list. So this just gave me like an extra 70 points, right? Like because I'm still taking some of the special weapons, but I really think the special weapon changes, like paying like the 5 point for the multi meltas and 5 point for the last cannon is very cool. I think because that was like a big thing for guard, right? So you have like very modular units, very like customizable units. So if you have this Lehman Rust that's 160 points, like you should be able to kit it out with the type of things you want. And Vanquisher starting at 130, Punisher starting at 130. That's very reasonable, right? You can take those with triple flamers for 130. That's like a huge steal at that rate. You can take demolishers at I think 150. Maybe just take multi meltas and flamer and the one flamer, and that's like 160. That's a pretty good rate,
And the cool thing with it being so modular, like you said, is like you can get to break points in your list where it's like you can get another hole and then maybe not take the special weapons, and it's a little cheaper, where before they're priced in, so you have to take, it's not as expensive, so maybe you
best
can't
weapon.
fit that in there. Yeah, it's kind of been that. It's similar with Sisters have had a lot of that in this edition too, where a lot of things were made cheaper, and then the Melta edition that you could take on them is more expensive. So, and a lot of times you just don't take that, and then stuff is cheaper and you have more of it. And you still had like the immolator hull to split a unit that you wanted anyway. And I mean, the Melta was nice, but the Flamer will do most of the time anyway. Yep.
Yep. And the battle line troops going down actually makes literally no difference. Paying 5 points less for your 10-man Cadian shock troop is just not real, right? Because before they were being overkilled by like 20 to 30% every time. So paying like 5% less, 10% less is just not different enough, right? They like
Hey, if you're
there's
spamming a
something
bunch of
fundamentally
them, then you might have one more unit that can get one tapped than you did before.
exactly, yeah. Like the differential here is that you are being you are losing about 30% durability. So that's not going to be fixed by points. Like that's like a gameplay issue. Is like when people's skirmish units can kill your 180 point bricks, that's like an issue, right? That's just like a game design issue. Like so none of these like infantry point changes are actually meaningful. And you can actually see the heavy weapon teams went up a little bit, and that's actually probably fine because they were obviously being like spammed to take down tanks. But I still think that like the heavy weapon teams are really not the issue. The issue is just the army just needs to have like a different like play pattern. Like the leaders should go up, the leaders should go up, but the units themselves should just be a little bit different in terms of play pattern.
Yeah, it's
agree.
probably something that will have to be a codex change, though. They're not going to sweeping change that probably anyway.
Yep, I agree. Make the 20-man bricks only 2 wounds each.
So they're
Problem
40. They're
solved.
40 dudes actually.
40
They're
dudes
secretly
in a
40.
trench crowd. Yep.
But I mean, it's quite clear that they like all the super heavy builds. They think like Stormlord memes are hilarious. Like the fire and fade on the Stormlord. They think that stuff is great. So good to see that they're not changing that stuff.
It's really is
yeah, this is
GW just
overall-
saying like you're a tank army.
Yep.
Move
Yeah.
along.
Yeah,
Have you
and
heard
you
of
know
the Defiler? Because you're now
Yeah,
those.
exactly. And I said this like when I was talking to Dustin about like him going to LVO, right? It's like you're about to land on Armageddon, right? Like would you like to land on Armageddon in land speeder or some rhinos, or would you like to land on Armageddon with like Lehman Russes and Rogodorns and land raiders? Because it's a hostile world out there. It's a
It is, man.
before
Shit kills you dead.
Before you could stand in a ruin and get +1 armor. Now you stand in a ruin, your opponent just has like slightly worse vision, and most armies just don't shoot with their eyes anyway, so it just doesn't matter. You just get blown to bits.
Yeah,
like,
those noise
no
marines
cover
shoot
on
sound
Armageddon.
around that corner. Don't worry about it, dog.
Yeah, there's no cover on Armageddon, so it's a tough world out there. It's a
Exactly.
2-up 5-up world out there. So if you think you're walking around in shirts and tie and thinking you're gonna have a good time, it's you're not going to have a good time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, tank guard enjoyers rejoice. Foot guard enjoyers wait for the codex. Pray.
Yeah,
The emperor
absolutely.
might be with you. It is funny how I completely agree with everything you said, but they're also like trying to bait you by being like, but Recon's 2 DP, right? So
Right.
Recon's a little better. Maybe try Recon.
Hey, you get
Right?
recon, all your tanks get stealth. There you go. Actually, pretty primo. I'm probably gonna make a stealth tank. Yeah.
Yeah, all my tanks are already
ninja.
stealth. Yeah, because they're all standing behind some piece of terrain.
One of their tank treads is behind this wall, and by God, you will never see it. Not
Exactly.
one time.
Yeah, if you're not hiding your cannon, like what are you doing?
True. Battle cannons were made to be hidden behind walls, as the Emperor intended. On to Grey Knights, another army that a lot of people don't see. They don't pop up a ton. Their win rates, 6 people brought them to WTC, 42% win rate. So not a great player base, not a great win rate. And then overall for the data slate, 45.95, so basically 46%. And they did win one event. So not terrible, but certainly not blowing the doors off. And not a ton of changes. They got the Land Raider Redeemer tax, plus 10 points. That went on basically everybody. Their Paladins got more expensive. Purgation squads got a little cheaper. This does not scream, this unit did not do super well in the past month type data slate to me. This seems like
No,
we forgot that they existed, and so here's
I'm
a
not gonna lie.
change.
I didn't know they had redeemers.
I don't know if they did either, but in the event that they tried to take one, +10.
Yep. I mean, Grey Knights, I think we'll likely see a range refresh, either 12th edition or late 11th edition, I think.
Yeah,
And
I can see it.
they'll probably just have a big glow up, or they'll
And
just
they're
do
also going to
the
get adjusted some alongside other Space Marines. That was noted that they're going to get toughness changes on some of their stuff as well.
yeah. Or it'll be like, all right, guys, you're Imperial Agents now. We're gonna roll you in with the. We're gonna send all those
I love that's
Imperial
the
Agent.
threat over like 3
Yeah.
different armies in the game. Like, you're not an army. Get in your box.
Yeah,
Here's
they're
my
just-
pitch. It's even worse than that. Okay, instead of getting a range refresh, you get an upgrade sprue to regular Space Marines. You just take-
No, yeah, exactly.
you lose your codex and you don't get a range refresh. You just have bits that you put on your regular Space Marines to make them Grey Knights.
right.
Grey
And,
Knight fans, I'm rooting for you. I hope it doesn't happen to you, but you gotta be a little worried. It's always a little. Why haven't they? Why don't we get what
No
they
signs
get?
of life.
This
You
is
know,
not
I
the
don't
type
like-
of data slate that screams GW is trying to give you love.
I don't like playing against Grey Knights at all.
I mean, I don't. Teleporting
Really?
armies is annoying, but I'm trying to take my
Well, they
bias out
also-
of it.
Teleporting army and then like a 20-minute shooting phase with 2 units. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
how many
True.
they gotta
guns
like.
does this thing have?
True.
They're always walking around the table too. It's like, oh, I gotta check over here. Oh, I gotta check over. Is there a spot here? It's like, dude, no. there's
Wrap
just
it
four
up.
men. Go
Wrap it
away.
up.
Yeah.
Put this
Just
guy on
hold
a clock.
W, you know?
Get in your Land Raider Redeemers and hold W as God intended to get out there.
Right?
Plus 10 points, by the way. All right, Grey Knights, Imperial Knights. Pretty much
None, perfect
ignored.
army.
We'll check their win rates real quick. 17, so quite a lot brought to WTC. Did not win well, 36%. Their win rate for the data slate, 47% on the dot, essentially. No event wins, so not dominating by any means. This data slate does not care. They just fixed Gate Warden again to say it's a 40mm token, which all of you, that's what you guessed, but the rule didn't say it.
And you don't
Which
have
is a
How big is the
problem that
line?
GW needs to fix. It's 40mm wide now because it's
No,
any
it says
point.
drawing a line between any part of the token.
Yeah, so any part of the token means it's the width of the token is essentially what that means.
'Cause
Yeah,
the initial change to the token of undescript size was from closest point to closest point.
Yep. And only
anytime,
a token. What does that mean? It's probably 40 mil, but it doesn't say in the rules. Maybe it's a fucking and also closest point to closest point means it's an atom wide. Like
Yeah, it's so in 10th edition, I remember this very clearly, where anytime they said draw a line, it was a 1 millimeter width line. So I'm fairly certain it carried over in 11th. I haven't checked that specific verbiage, but that's what I assumed it was. I also assumed it was a 40mm token. So it went from being this.
we all did, it just didn't say that. So it's like,
Yeah.
what's the token? And then also closest point is like, so, and also if people didn't know that this changed in the last data slate where it used to say objective marker. Because that's what it was in 10th edition. So the way it worked in the beginning of 11th edition is that it was basically a third of the entire board was covered by this line because you'd pick the 2 biggest objectives on the map on a cross section and then stand all of your knights on it.
Exactly,
So
yeah,
the
it was like-
change was like from that to essentially, if you read the fine print, it says like again like maybe 1 millimeter, maybe 1 atom. Like how wide is this line? Very short.
In the fine print, it read, "Pick a different detachment because this is no longer
Stop
working."
it. Yeah.
Because on some maps,
someone read it.
it was 13.5 inches wide. Your gate,
Yep.
and it was very easy to abuse.
It was a huge gate.
The gates were open. Now they are open. It's that meme, open the gate a little. That's what this is now. Open the gate a little. But I'm again, kind of like Dustin said, I don't like playing against Knights, so I'm not crying that they didn't get any changes, but their win rate was not great. And this points changes, see you next month. I don't know. You get nothing. At the end, says Games Workshop. But that is the end of the Imperium. So now we're on to the Space Marines, which are in a bit of a holding pattern because they have noted that the Codex is coming in October, and they're going to get a lot of changes. Basically, any Space Marine rumor that you've heard recently is basically coming true. So they're going to Toughness 5, the base Space Marine, at least the base Space Marine, maybe others. Army rule is changing from Oath of Moment to combat doctrines. So some version of Gladius Task Force. We don't know exactly how that's going to work yet, but that's going to be their army rule. So all of that's coming in October. And they've also noted that any of the supplements are going to cease to exist when the Codex comes out. So Space Marines, Imperium Space Marines writ large, and also Chaos Space Marines are going to get a lot of changes in October. So we're kind of waiting for that. But nevertheless, Space Marines did get some changes in the Dataslate. Space Marines as a whole, 18 of them brought to WTC, 57% win rate. Pretty high, not shocking, because it's kind of the best Space Marine players in the world, but there were definitely still some Space Marine builds that were good enough to break through at the top. And then
Those are all
overall,
Dark Angels, though.
no, because the Dark Angels are split out.
Okay.
In Space Marines total, the total data slate, they were right about where they always are, which is 48.5%. Whether they're good or bad, Space Marines are usually right around there. Even if they're incredibly broken, they're usually right around there. And 4 event wins. So not the heights of unnamed, unattached Space Marines, but still doing quite well. Their changes, which is funny. One of the things, so there's also a list of things that are going to legends in the Codex, one of them being Devastator Centurions. So they also wanted to make sure that if you still wanted to play them for their last 2 months of existing, plus 15 points. So that's kind of a kick in the balls. Librarian and Terminator armor, which had been seeing some play, especially at WTC, up 10 points. Land Raider Redeemer, which we've already mentioned, up 10 points. Vulcan Hastan, up 10 points. That Salamander build still getting walked back as things were being. And then otherwise, the changes were all kind of small. Wardens of Ultramar are officially support. They already kind of were, but now it's very clear that they're support. And yeah, not a huge number of changes. This definitely feels like calm before the storm type thing. Unless, again, you wanted to have fun playing your dev cents for their last 2 months. Slightly less fun.
Yeah, and for the viewers that are unfamiliar, because Space Marines are such a widely collected army, when they take them to tournaments or they report their wins and losses through like third party apps like any of the battle report ones that harvest these data where we get these numbers from, um, because it's just so many people to play it. You have you know Nick with his, I don't know, Space Marine quote unquote army that's just a unit, like a collection of models he got from different combat patrols or gifts from Christmas, and plays it on the weekends or takes it to a tournament because he wants to, try out a tournament and have fun, and gets demolished. It
Yeah.
goes 0-6.
Yep.
Is
Yeah, I just
report affecting the same overall.
put up the
number.
numbers on screen again. 350 just Space Marine players. And to be clear, that doesn't include Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Black Templar, anything with a supplement. They are not folded into those numbers. So it's just Space Marines. 354 players out of the 4,800, by far the most represented. So that's kind of what Ricardo was getting to and what I was alluding to earlier. Space Marines, whether they're broken or bad, they tend to sit right around that 46 to 48% win rate because they just, so many people play them, and a lot of those players they run the skill range so much higher than a lot of other armies, where yeah, you're gonna have Timmy at his first tournament going 0-5 every week, because there's a new Timmy at his first tournament playing his new fun Space Marines because he played Space Marine 2. And then there's also John Lennon running around going 5-0. So at the end of the day, that's a 50% win rate. But
right, yeah, with the 30 Victrix Honor Guard with 4 wounds.
yeah,
We're
exactly.
still at a 48% win
the
rate.
difference there's so many data sheets, there's so many ways to play Space Marines, which means, especially if you're inexperienced, there's so many ways to play them wrong, which means that you can just show up and get run over. But yeah. But again, as far as Space Marine changes go, this is very light touch. the most notable thing to me is just the kick and the absolute nards. Like Dev Sense, we're just taking out back and shot. Can they have two? Can they have their 2 months of hospice? And GW is like, no, actually, no, plus 50.
Yep.
Moving along to the supplements, Dustin, Black Templars, one of your favorites. Pretty short change list. They got the Land Raider Redeemer. This one says -10, but it was +10, to be clear.
I wish.
Yeah. So that's a typo. +10 like everybody else. But Sword Brethren, down 5 or down 10. Take us away. Are
Yeah,
they
no,
fixed?
no
I don't
one-
see a Helldrake here.
no
Is
one
there any other
cares.
way to get out?
No one cares. And to break it down, so you've got Sword Brethren. You can take them 4, 5, 9, or 10, and for what are they now? They would now 5. It's like 125 for 5. Let me double check real quick. Sorry, I have like 17 Black Templar lists. 135, but that's with an upgrade. So yeah, 125 for 5. Okay, so it's 30 wounds with 15 attacks, Mastercraft Power Weapon with lethal. No, not 30 wounds, sorry. 15 wounds. So for 25 points more, I can have 20 wounds with an ability that actually matters, Blood Surge from the Crusaders, and can hit probably about as hard as a 5-man Sword Brethren unit. So it's just no one cares. It's just not enough. 10
again-
models is always just a blade of wounds at that point, because it's just overkilling anything in the game if you bring 10 Sword Brethren.
And just
So it
bringing
just
up
feels like a waste
the
of
win rates
points.
real quick. Barely seen at WTC. 2 people brought them. Those who did, 35% win rate. And then they were the 3rd lowest win rate overall for the data slate at 42%. No event wins. Only 64 players. So I don't think they're actually 42% win rate bad. That is more reflective of player base abandonment. Like the people who play them weren't playing Black Templars this month. They were playing their other army.
There's a
Typically.
lot of Black Templar players in the community that it's more narrative. Like the reason why they're playing Black Templar is almost exclusively narrative. From what I've noticed, and the people who've scoured the YouTube for Black Templar content, there's just not much out there from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, so not doing well, not getting played by a lot of players. This Sword Brethren down just seems like such a lazy, like, I mean, again, as we mentioned, this might be like calm before the storm. Like, you're getting a ton of changes in 2 months, so until then.
So admittedly, like I love Sword Brethren. Like I want them to be the elite faction unit that they're supposed to be. Like that is like the Black Templar exclusive, 3 wound, heavy hitting guy. But it kind of worries me because what they're saying, the toughness bloat and everything of Space Marines in general, then Black Templars can run into the same problem that I feel like Death Guard is having. Like
Too
I
elite.
have 9 units on the table, and I'm expected to be everywhere and being competitive and doing all
action.
these things. It's just like it doesn't feel good. So
Yeah. We will see. We will see.
Yeah, just play Tyranids and get 21 drops. Easy.
21 drops, kill nothing.
I
End of
I do
end of
have
list.
Tyranids.
There you
I have
go.
to play Disruption, and it's terrible.
Blood Angels. Again, not a ton of changes. We'll pull up their win rate. The worst win rate at WTC, only 2 players, 21.4% win rate. So yeah, not super reflective. Their overall win rate was 48%. 1 event win for the data slate. So not terrible, not great, but not terrible.
Actually, it's pretty cool. The Sanguinary Guard for 3 models going down. I mean, it's essentially going to add an enhancement to a lot of lists, which is potentially cool because
Mhm.
I've noticed a lot of people are running like 3 Sangard with a captain or Dante or whatever. The other ones don't matter at all. Like no one cares about the Sanguinor anymore. 5-man Death Company, like irrelevant. You
Yep.
take him in 10 or you don't bring him.
Yep.
But the 3 model Samurai Guard going down is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say again, this is very minimal changes that just signals bigger changes are coming, so they're not overbalancing something that's going away. That's kind of my feeling. This is very minor, but yeah, smaller Sangard unit going down. Sanguinor going down does matter in the sense that he is a lot worse than 11th, so at least he's getting closer. So I'm assuming, the thing is, yeah, the 3 model Sanguinary Guard, it's a different option, but I don't know how much they were getting played. So I wonder how much impact this actually has to people's existing lists. It just might open up a different build.
A lot of people were running 2 to 3 units of 3 Sanguinary Guard.
So I don't know. I've seen I played 2 Blood Angels players the past weekend. They were running 6-mans, so maybe that was just them. But yeah, I know it's not that it doesn't exist, but also even if you're running 3, it's 15 points, so it's not like a huge change if that's the only thing. Points
maybe
down
an
is always
enhancement
helpful. Yeah, you grab an
somewhere.
enhancement, you upgrade a skirmish unit to a slightly better skirmish unit. It's always welcome, but not
You can keep
crazy.
your Land Raider Redeemer in your list.
Yeah. Which, although I'm assuming they were running a Ball Predator if they were running that in Blood Angels, probably doesn't have the transport, but if you want your Flamer, you got a different option. So yeah, not a great huge change. Now this is one that is interesting. So Dark Angels, you will note that they are going to be very high
This
on
is
both of those lists. 60.5% win rate with 15 players at WTC, which is not a ton, but you have to remember that that's Space Marine, so they're competing with every other Space Marine for their team spot. So the second highest win rate on at WTC out of things that got brought at a high enough amount to count, and then their overall win rate for the past month is 56%. They was the second highest behind Orks, and 7 event wins, which is the second most behind Orks. So the TLDR of that win rate, Dark Angel's been real good. Now let's look at their changes. Samael up 10, fair. Ravenwing Black Knights 10-point tax on their 3rd unit, okay. Recon
That's
Hunter
lame.
enhancement up 10.
I hate that.
Otherwise untouched. So I'm gonna guess for most lists this increased them by maybe 20 points, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 30.
Yeah.
Because they're not playing Redeemers, they're not playing Librarians and Terminator Armor. So
Yep.
almost no change.
Yeah, this is huge.
Yeah,
Actually,
they're
this
gonna
is
be cracked.
yeah, they're gonna be cracked. Like Dark Angel is gonna be by far the best Space Marine for a while. Like the speeder spam list is crazy.
Still as good as it
And the
was.
fact that the bikes are going up and not the actual speeders themselves is really telling that like they're either they like this play style, they want speeders to be good, or they're just misunderstanding. Like I doubt that they're just like misunderstanding the list, right? Because like it's clearly the speeders that are doing the issue, all the damage.
The
So the
bikes
fact
are
that they
helping, but they're not the
yeah,
core.
the bikes don't
They're
do
not
any
the
damage. They're just Envo unit.
Yeah,
They're just Envo units. They're just there to survive. So
Yep.
like the bikes doesn't matter at all. So this is gonna be super good. And especially Lion is like just has like his text is good now, and he's still just like the best like Imperium Primarch, and he's just a menace.
Still a menace, still a beat stick, still
yeah.
comes and
this army's
teleports behind
awesome.
you and kills you. Yeah, this is the best, not the best. They were probably the second best army in the game, the best Imperium army, the best Space Marine version, and they got like the lightest of light tap, like basically nothing changed. So that's
They got the Orcs treatment.
well,
Yeah.
the Orcs treatment is at least understandable when we get to them. More understandable because the Orcs
Well, I meant last
codex
data
is
slate.
fair. Yeah, this is basically Orcs from last data slate. I completely agree. Basically,
Dawn
no
of War
change.
noises.
Yeah.
Dawn of War noises. I swear to God, this is like they're gonna be amazing until October. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
trying to sell that
until
game.
October.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. The only saving grace is that Dark Angels aren't like the most popular necessarily. Like they're not like swarming every local probably, but if they are there, this is just as good as it was. So have another month of that. Enjoy.
This is a random thought, and not to dig at anybody, but anyone who's ran a speeder like spam list, it always looks stupid on the table. Like I feel like
It
people
does
don't
look a
care
little
about the
goofy.
paint jobs or
Yeah.
something on the speeders, or maybe the models are just stupid, but they always look terrible. I don't know. I'm just like,
Well, it's because
I hate it.
they
Like,
didn't
it's
run
just,
this list before a month ago, so and they were trying to get it painted real quick, so it was very
or their
slapdash.
speeders are from 7th edition or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, that's the
100%.
main issue.
It
Yeah,
was
it's
the first thing they
Vengeances.
painted.
Yeah, the Vengeances literally like are from like 15 years ago. Like that thing is very old.
Maybe a new one coming to a GW store near you in the near future. We will see. But,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, totally. I totally believe it.
you're gonna keep seeing it because they were real good and nothing changed. So guess what? They're gonna be real good. The end. Deathwatch, a army that exists. Their win rates are going to be hilariously high, 78.6% win rate at WTC. It was one guy. He went 5-1-1. Well done. 54% win rate with 43 total players, 3 event wins. So what that means is this is a seriously good army for their player base. But they just fly under the radar because 10 people play them. So what are their changes? Nothing. You're going to note that is the changes that all Space Marines got. Dev Sense up 15, Land Raider Redeemer up 10. End of discussion. Still good. The 10 people who play them, playing the same list, doing the same thing. Deathwatch, we salute you. Space Wolves.
Being an infantry-focused army, especially an infantry shooting-focused army, kind of like Pseudo Tau,
That teleports.
where it's like, the teleports is like, I'm always going to be in cover, or I'm always going to be hidden.
Yep.
I'm going to be able to like just move around the table real fast, and because like nobody plays against this army because it's just not a very widely collected army, people aren't ready for it, and they're just like, oh, what do you mean? 2d6 blast.
That's how many special
rocket
weapons
launchers.
behind me? Excuse me?
Yeah. They all get something cool? Like what?
Also, you get fancy bullets that kill me harder. Ouchies. And then you disappear before I can come kill you. Oh no. Yeah, Deathwatch. It's not a lot of people play them, which means not a lot of people have experience against them, and they also have good rules. So, end of the day, they'll kill you. But you're not going to have to face it much, so you'll never get that mad at them unless you're like best friend only plays Deathwatch. That's like the only person in the world who's like, I hate this army, because everybody else gets hit really hard by it. And you're like, holy shit, that was crazy. Deathwatch are really good, and then you forget about them because you don't play them for 6 months, and then you play them again, and you're like, Deathwatch are pretty good, and then you don't play them for 6 months.
In another world, in another life, Deathwatch was the Space Marine chapter I was going to collect, and ultimately I went with Tyranid.
It's expensive to
Not too late.
have it correct.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, we'll have the GSG Marines Deathwatch version at some point, because you just build it on accident while you build the rest of the Space Marine force. So on we
go. Have
go.
all the cool shoulder pads and upgrades.
It's fine. Who has time for that?
Nobody looks at those, dude.
Some Space Marines that get played slightly more, but not a ton more than Deathwatch.
What do you mean?
This is a pretty big change, dude.
It's the second biggest space. It's the second biggest Space Marine like subreddit. I'm pretty sure it's like literally the second most collected Space Marine.
I guess there were 126 players. You're right. You're right. Maybe we just don't see them along a lot in San Diego. All right. So Space Wolves. 2 people brought them to WTC. They won at 60%. Well done, both of you. Very proud. For the Dataslate itself, 53% win rate, 4 event wins. So they did pretty well. What a lot of those was spamming 30 Wolfguard Terminators, and GW noticed that. And so they said,
you may only have 2.
If you bring 2 units, they're a little more expensive. If you take a third, stop. Also, if you take a third TCAV unit, stop.
So what's going to happen is, instead of the 10th, or excuse me, the third break of 10 Wolfguard Terminators, it's going to be 10 Assault Terminators.
Just dodge it.
Cheaper.
Just duck and dodge. Yeah.
Same defensive profile, except I guess not -1 to wound, but like it's still a 2-up, 4-up Terminator.
Yeah, it seems like a fairly easy side grade to keep your points, keep your list, and keep it rolling. But yeah, definitely got hit. I mean, they were clearly winning at a pretty decent rate. I don't think GW really wants an army built on the back of 30 Terminators. So I'm not surprised. We'll see where they go from here. It's also, again, the big Space Marine changes. TM is nigh, so they might get some shifts from that. But Otherwise, it was basically just, holy shit, that's a lot of Terminators, stop. All right. So that takes us to the end of the Space Marines. Only one sub-faction left, or one sub-type left. And it is the Xenos. Starting with the Aeldari. A lot of changes here. Really quick, we'll pull up their win rates. Aeldari, 5 people brought them to WTC. Not a lot. 30% win rate, quite bad. For the data slate as a whole, 48% win rate, not terrible. 2 event wins, not terrible, but not great. So what did they get? A lot of things down. Reapers down, Avengers down, Uldrad down, Spirit Seer down, Storm Guardians down, Warlocks down, Warlock Skyrunners down, Warwalker down, the Vizark down. Aspect Host became priority assets, which was a big upgrade for them because I'm pretty sure it was Disruption before. One thing that was bad, though, a lot of things became support. The Warlock Skyrunners and Conclaves became support. What that means is they can no longer run around alone. They must be attached to something. So essentially, they become more expensive if you want to run that unit. It's kind of the change that happened to Wardens of Ultramar at the start of 11th edition, where they were one great way to use them was to just bring them by themselves and just have them go stand on an objective and say, you won't.
Yep.
But now to do that, you have to staple them to some intercessors or, bring something else. They can't do that. So similar issue here, but overall quite a lot cheaper. And, 48% win rate and 2 event wins is not terrible. And in the last month, so they were not doing bad. And then Aeldari is also just because of their rules and how they work, where they are just not just fast, they are capital F fast. Like they are the fastest army in the game. Because they just teleport and do crazy stuff, and they're behind you, and they're advancing, and their boats move 24 inches through walls and drop things off, and then they react and move back into it. They're very fast. Is as soon as Aeldari tip past being balanced, it can like snowball very fast. To be clear, I'm not saying this is happening necessarily, but I was surprised. Because I know they didn't do very well in WTC. I was surprised to see that they were still right around 50% and had a couple people win GTs. So we might be seeing more elves with these changes.
I think the Aeldari they have to walk a super fine line on balance, where we don't have the fire dragons Fugan just annihilating your entire army and then dipping. They don't even have
That
to get
was
back in the
so terrible.
Yeah, like you don't even have to be able to get back in your transport after shooting. You just have to be able to go there, annihilate everything, and just stand there because nobody can touch you. If everything's dead, right?
It's true. The best defense in Warhammer is a good offense where they're just dead.
Exactly.
Also, they stop scoring because they're dead.
Yeah, and you don't have to roll your saves because
they
they're
are deceased. Yeah, yep. Really fixes the problem. Yeah. I don't see a ton of things down here that's like really going to break the bank. So I'm not saying that this is like the event horizon that we've crossed and now it's going to be an elf month. But I am always a little weary of Aeldari because I know like once it breaks hard. Like they are usually not a perfectly balanced army. They tend to be like they can't get over the line, so they're just not good. So you don't see it a lot, or they're everywhere and they're slaughtering. So we will see if they got the balance right.
For those Harley Quinn lovers, you can now have a Harley Quinn model as your warlord, so you can really lean into your theme, which is nice for the more narrative focused players.
The clowns, yeah, I think that's totally fair. Totally fair. All right, Drukhari. Nothing to say.
Balanced.
They didn't do nothing, so nothing for us to say. We'll bring up their win rates real quick just to see if this was fair or not. 6 people brought them to WTC, not a lot. 32% win rate, bad. 46.3% win rate in the overall data slate, not great. Definitely near the bottom. 2 event wins, which isn't terrible. So the peaks were high. But overall, GW looked at that mix of data and said, shrug.
Yep.
The guy who was supposed to fill out this data slate forgot to come into work that day, so see you in a month.
Right. I do find it funny how 3 of their legend data sheets got changed. It's like I thought they were legends because they were supposed to be forgotten.
Yeah,
You know,
it's funny. Like I was joking that they forgot to do this one, and it's like if you're changing legends data sheets, that means you like super did this one, and your decision was nothing. So
perfectly
that's interesting.
balanced.
Yeah.
I guess Drukhari Codex. You know, November, December.
Maybe that's the
No,
the hint.
no, it's gonna be Custodes right after either Custodes or Tau right after Space Marines.
I mean, we'll see. We'll
Tyranids.
see. Yeah.
Tyranids.
Nah.
Yeah, I agree.
Be
Look, the
careful
guy
what you
arrived
wish
at
for.
GW. Look, we all know 12th edition is going to be an index edition where
Mhm.
everybody gets hard reset. So I
Mhm.
don't mind
Mhm.
like being a little bit sooner. I don't want to wait a year and a half for my Tyranid Codex.
That's fair. Yeah,
Mhm.
you've suffered long enough. But if you're a Drukhari player and suffering right now, nothing to help you.
Yeah.
GW did nothing. Godspeed.
Go get some legend models, I guess.
Genestealer Cults. This is going to sound very similar. Nothing. Man, we really
Perfectly balanced. Dude.
GW got to the Xenos page and said like, boss, I'm tired." Just
We
did
got to
nothing.
focus on the codexes that are coming out next month, dude. Like, who
It's
cares?
like, yeah,
Just
fuck that.
move
Yeah.
on.
We're supposed to do one of these a month. God, we got to cut some corners. Really quick, looking at their win rates for the GSC fans. 2 players brought them to WTC, 42.8% win rate. So not a lot of players. Didn't do all that hot. And their win rate, 46.8%. So right up around there with Drukhari. 3 event wins though. So damn. So
Although
you
I
can
believe there's an asterisk next to that because I think one of those. I don't know if that number includes the person that got lost his win.
No, I don't know. Either way, you can blame the 2 people who won events and potentially that third person who cheated or something. I don't know. I don't know the T on that one, but for GW deciding that you were fair and balanced and no changes, and all right, back underground. GSC. We'll see you next month. Leagues of Votann. So they made it to here on their Xenos review. Looking at our dwarves, they surprisingly have done fairly well. 15 players brought them to WTC at a 55% win rate, very far up there, especially for armies
Nice.
that had a decent amount of players. And then for the Dataslate themselves, 53% win rate and 3 event wins. So pretty strong showing for the Leagues of Votann. Your reward for all of that, though, is a bunch of stuff got more expensive. 6 model Thunderkin up 10. The Shooty Steeljacks up 10 for 6 models. The Capricus Defenders plus 5 for a model, and also a big stepper cost for the 3rd unit, 15 or 20, because you can bring them in 2s, I believe. However, Hearthkin Warriors down 10, Berserks down 5 or 10, Earthshakers down 10, and the Melee Steeljacks down 10. So it seems like they said, your shooting's too good, that stuff gets more expensive. Your melee needs some help, that stuff gets cheaper. Which seems fair.
Yeah, I think the main issue with League right now is just a lot of people who collect the army and play the army just does not like the play style. So the only armies that they're willing to play are like skew or like spam list because they're just more fun.
Yeah.
Where as opposed to like the super fine, because like people just don't love playing like the buff dancing like style. People want to play dwarves and just like unga bunga, and so yeah, it's not surprising to see like very good results with like extremely good players, and then
yeah, not a lot
same,
of not a ton of people bringing them. The people who are faction experts, and they're bringing their
yeah,
most optimized data sheets and just smashing face with it.
yeah,
I kind of think
yeah.
it's also a mix of disposition to detachment issues.
Mhm.
Like I've heard through the grapevine, a lot of leagues of OTAN people are struggling because the attachments that are quote unquote good don't come with great disposition options for the playstyle of the army.
Yep.
But so maybe if they change those, we'll see a bit of a jump in Votan's win rates and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're totally right. Like it's definitely an army that feels like there's too many cooks. It's just there's so many weird like like non-interactive things like non-bows right in the army. Just like it doesn't feel good. Like it's like I used to have 4,000 points of Votann, and I stopped playing Votann after the Codex came out because like the index was like a well-oiled, like moisturized machine, right? And then the Codex is just I don't even know what it is. I looked at it and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, people still play them, and they clearly have decent results. I feel like their codex has been met with like kind of a shrug, and they can clearly still make it work. But yeah, I don't think it didn't seem to me like it was received like it didn't blow people away, and I don't exactly. I mean, it's not the most popular army, but it's one of those armies that's like I don't exactly know what to expect out of it, but it can still perform well.
I think also it kind of benefits from the sort of Deathwatch scenario where, oh, I've never seen Votann outside of like maybe, every 6 months or whatever
Yeah.
at an event. What are you? It's like, oh,
Sorry,
I'm
what
Space
is a
Marines, but
steel jack?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like from what I've like seen at events, like overhearing people talk about their 30-minute pitch about their army before the round starts, essentially. It's like we're Space Marines but shorter, and we're gonna hit hard, but we don't move fast. And people go like, "Oh, you're gonna hit hard, but you don't move fast." Okay, and they don't like it doesn't click, and then they're like, "Oh, you hit hard. I don't. It doesn't matter if you don't move fast because I'm dead."
Yep. Take notes, Death Guard. Just kill them.
Mm.
Then it doesn't matter how many units you have because they'd have none. Have you thought about that?
It's pretty good at killing stuff.
Kill stuff good.
I
Alright,
thought
so
Plague Marines take down Magnus and a Defiler in one turn.
it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
I still think it could have been the hat trick with that Forge Fiend.
What could have been?
Yeah,
All right.
couldn't kill the Forge Fiend, but killed the other two.
On to Orks. Now, okay, here's where I start throwing things around the room. Look at this
Perfectly
absolute nonsense.
balanced.
Okay, let's look at their win rates. All right. Dataslate, top army, 58% win rate. Most event wins by far. 13 wins. Not even close. Okay. Tied joint highest taken army to WTC. Emperor's Children, we're tied with them. 46.6% win rate. Let's look up at Orcs. 64.7%. By far the best army. Best army in the game. It's not close. I warned you during our last Data Slate review. It wasn't enough. They were going to be the best army in the game. They still are. So now it's time to crash out about they didn't. Nah, I don't actually care because their codex comes out in a week. So I understand why they didn't put them in this data slate. It would have been
It's
stupid.
perfectly balanced
Yeah.
army, dude. They should have just like decreased. They should have just decreased the points by like 80%. Just made Gaz like 100
Just
points. And just be
absolutely
like,
say fuck it for the next
Yeah,
week.
you guys have fun.
64% win rate.
later-
We want to see this bitch at 95. Let's see it.
Yeah.
The two
then
tournaments
their
that run in this period. Let's see it.
Yep. And then
It's just apocalypse games. Every
Yeah.
round is apocalypse.
and just have fun with it, because then like 2 days later the codex is gonna come out, and it's like, all right, cool, all right, no more.
Yeah. That would be a funny April Fool's joke. Yeah, just for like one day. Like,
Yeah.
Orcs are
Surprise
10 times cheaper.
Yeah. If their codex wasn't about to go live and invalidate this entire data slate, this would be like a crime against God. But
Yeah.
luckily it is, so it's totally fine, and I get it. Like, there's no point in putting effort into changing these data sheets that have like 1 week left on this earth, so it's fine. But again, I will say I was right. Last data slate wasn't even close. Still way too good, and best army in the game through all of 11th. We'll see how their codex comes out. Hopefully more balanced. Although I will say one small crash out I will post here for Daniel when he listens to this next time. I did say when we saw the new Gaz data sheet, which is cranked to the fucking tits. He hits like a truck. He's way harder to kill. He gives out insane buffs. He's a fucking monster. I was like, they're going to make him cheaper than Fulgrim. It's going to piss me off. And guess what? That dude is 300 points. Fulgrim remains 340. Did not go down. So the Prime Orc Gazgul stays winning. I stay mad. And GW continues to... It's the Green Menace. It's them and Dark Angels. Just get
Yep.
used to it.
11th edition is the green edition.
No, Angron's cheaper than Fulgrim.
I mean, that's fine, because Angron also technically needs some love. Gazgul is insane, and he's 300 points, so he won't be there. He won't be there for long. That's not going to stick.
Yep.
But at least on
But
release.
But they only need to sell one gas,
Yeah.
right?
Fair,
Like you
yeah.
can only buy one gas. You can buy 3 defilers. So the defilers were 120 points underpriced. So gas is only 80 points underpriced.
Exactly.
Probably true. Yep, probably true.
Just throw 10 Genestealers and a Broodlord at Gaz, and then they all die in the.
I mean,
violent
that
death.
requires your opponent to throw him in the middle for what I will quote reasons ?
Has anyone else in the game had an aura of +1 to hit and wound? Like, doesn't that feel insane? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's like it's almost as good as the Silent King. Yeah.
Also, he gets to rile up your army later in the game if you keep him alive. 16 wounds. He does infinite damage. He gets cleave. He gets an extra attack. That dude is Giga
Nuts.
Chad. He is
Dev wounds.
big ol' busted. And Fulgrim is still in a box in my closet.
Doesn't start with gas. I fail to see how any orc army does not start with gas. Like,
Oh, also,
even
by the
at
way,
maybe
this
385,
this
I would
isn't
take him
this
every
isn't a
game.
huge thing because there's so many other things that give it to you as well. But he's also a war boss, so he also generates you CP on top of it. Just to be clear, he gives you a CP in your turn. So
I pay 155 point for a guy to run around on foot touching grass for an extra CP.
And Gaz will do it while he fucking eviscerates your opponent and just rips them a new asshole while he riles up 5 units in your army at the end of the game. Unbelievable.
Doesn't he get loan up also?
Oh yeah, he's
Probably.
on too. Yeah. He's totally.
God forbid he gives
My-
shot. I mean, he's also
my-
infantry, so he could have been hidden anyway. But let's not. Let's not.
My
Make sure it's
200
12 inch.
my 220 point Swarm Lord that gets me a command point, and as a Vexor is a monster. No loan up, impossible to hide. Doesn't hit
So there.
nearly as hard as Gaz.
You know what, everybody, Daniel, fans around the world, you got your Orcs crash out after all. But yeah, as far as the data slate makes sense. What will be interesting is what we're saying in a month about their codex and whether it needed toning down. My guess is yes, but we'll find out because they've been quite good. Also noticing for some reason, we're just going down tabletop battles recap of the data slate, so we appreciate that. They were going in alphabetical order. O is actually not alphabetically after N, so I don't know why we went before.
Green Menace, dude, strikes again.
But anyway, Necron's one of my other most likely to crash out armies. So Necrons, essentially, let's look at their win rates. It was also quite good. They have been good as well. 30 players took them to WTC, 59% win rate. Pretty good. Third highest with the like major taken factions behind Orcs and Dark Angels. All green. It really is the Green Menace. Overall, their data slate, 51% win rate, 6 event wins, so still quite good. I will note that they kind of have a similar effect to Space Marines, not quite as much, but they were, by my quick count, the second highest taken faction. Yes, so there's a lot of Necron players out there, so that tends to pull their win rate towards 50%. But yeah, 51%, 6 event wins.
Because they're always
very good at WTC. Also true. And you know, allegedly they get played by crayon eaters because you doesn't matter if you know how to play the game if you never die. But I'm not officially saying that. That's just something I've heard. But their points changes for the data slate essentially was going after the Cursed Legion Sky Shroud build. So a lot of the locusts going up and taxes on third units. Necron Warriors going up 5, only for the 10 model bricks though, not the 20. Ophidian Destroyers for the 6 model up 5. Plasmancer, Scorpic Lord up 5. So really not a ton of changes. But if you were playing specifically the Cursed Legion, decent amount of points up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this data slate. I think this really cuts down the much more fun to play against and much more fun to play Necron army in favor of the other stuff that's just like is actually much worse.
I'm not supposed to play Locust. I guess I go get my Wraiths and my DDAs and my Silent King and my Warrior bricks out of the closet. Guess I'll have to go that way.
Don't forget about the Nightbringer.
Yep. Catan, knock, knock, knock on the window.
Yeah, like Necrosar and all this stuff, all these like somewhat fast guys with like decent weapons with no invuln saves running around was actually much more interesting to
I'd rather play against that than Wraiths, man.
Yeah, than Wraith bricks and DDAs and Silent Kings, yeah. So
At
this
least-
I don't like this at all.
At least the destroyers die.
True. Yeah. I might still lose because they're still quite good, but I at least get to play. I feel like I'm playing the game instead of just I showed up to throw my models against a brick wall, which is what Wraith bricks can feel like.
Especially when you leave them on terrain when there's a Defiler on the other side of the table, and then like the Defiler comes out and just shoots you, you know. But...
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah, the destroyer build like really encourages like good positioning and good like trading. And
they almost have to play the game instead of just being like, you can't kill me, I walk forward.
Yeah,
Checkmate.
and Necrosar is like a really interesting model because he adds a lot of like layers to the army that just like previously didn't exist in Necrons. So like it just makes the army way more interesting. So like I don't know why they think that it's like they need to cut the whole thing back, like not just the destroyer stuff. The destroyer stuff is actually probably like the most interesting stuff going on right now.
Well, less interesting now. Probably going to be fewer people, and they're going to go back to the stuff I hate even more and realize that it's still quite good. So,
yeah,
unfortunate. But moving on from them, Tau Empire. We got our Dataslate dropped honey, so the Twin Lance goes up 10 points. Love to see it. Star Size up 10, Tiger Shark up 20, an enhancement up 10. This sure is
Tiger Shark up 20. What?
This sure is a Dataslate. Yeah, outside of the Twin Lance going up 10 points, which we could probably just do for the rest of time, and it will be balanced sometime roughly in 2029. But yeah, the rest of this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. We'll check out their win rates real quick. The most balanced army, WTC, 26 people brought them, and they were like 81, 81, and 12 for a perfect 50% win rate. So as balanced as it gets. And then their win rate overall for the data slate was 50.64, so still relatively balanced. 6 event wins, so that's a lot of wins, and a lot of players brought them. So you could argue they needed a little toning down, but certainly not like absolutely slaughtered. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Tiger Shark probably wasn't what was getting those wins, so I don't know that went up 20. So some crisis suits in the Twin Lance, strike swiftly enhancement, sure.
Like if you think about it, like a 50% win rate at WTC, that was nothing but Orks and the Demons and all the problems that we were talked about in this episode that were nerfed, and then these guys are the same effectively. So it's like their 50% win rate just went up to 55, 56% win rate.
It's true. I mean, they're a looming menace. They're always a menace.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
and they'll be better against the new Orks as well. So
true. Yeah. I mean, I would say I've kind of been arguing for this for a bit, that Tau needs their codex early in 11th edition, because I think they just are fundamentally not working well. Clearly they can win. My point being, like, all of their detachments outside of Kalyan are 3DP. They feel weird to play around hidden, and how much they ignore cover, and like needing the guide. I think they're an army that needs a bit of a rework. So I think they would be they would deserve an early codex just to kind of get that all straightened out, and hopefully be more fun to play against, but we'll see.
I thought Tau was going to be what Orks are now. Like when 11th dropped, I thought Tau was just going to be so unplayable against, like, it's just
they got a decent nerf in the last data slate, which kind of brought them down, but they were never better than Orks. I think it was and it might just be one of those things, kind of like you're alluding to, where they might just not be able to cut through Orks, so it like cuts down their win rate. And so if Orks get their codex and they're not as strong, or they're more balanced, then maybe we see Tau rise up. But we will see. None of us are rooting for that though, because a really good Tau army is, we were talking about like oppressive stuff earlier. A really good Montka Tau, and they go first, really is just like, all right, well, we'll just wrap this up in 20 minutes so I can take a break. Yep, GG, go next. Guess I lose. All right, so that is Tau. And that takes us to the last army. We don't really need to talk about this one, I don't think. Bugs?
The best for last, of course. Tyranids.
Yeah, so Tyranids, 2 Tyranid players. I will take you through their win rates real quick and then let them wax poetic about their changes. 20 players brought to the WTC, 38% win rate. I will note, so that's obviously low, but we discussed on our WTC podcast that a lot of them were brought as the disruption answer. So a lot of these players were playing the worst disposition, so obviously that's naturally going to drop their win rate. So I don't think Tyranids are actually a 38% win rate army. And if we look to the results for the entire data slate, they were at 49.62% with a couple of event wins. So that's kind of reflective of, they're clearly not that bad. They were just taken to a very specialist environment at WTC where they had to kind of shovel some shit and do their best. And so their win rate got dropped pretty dramatically as a result. But clearly fairly balanced in terms of win rate, but maybe not fairly balanced in terms of game feel. But regardless, GW gave them some buffs overall. So, Ricardo, Dustin, you want to take us away?
Yeah. So for Tyranids, overall, tip just point decreases, which is nice. You know, typically if like you were playing Space Marines or Death Guard, you'd want like, yeah, I can bring more stuff. Like Tyranids, we bring more stuff, and it's still not good stuff, so it kind of doesn't make up for it. Like, yeah, Pyrophores going down to 40 points is great because it's a 40-point unit. You can just bring in, you can strategic reserve it, have it do actions, strip cover, nice little utility unit. It's like a 50 or 60 millimeter base size, so it's great for like zoning off, and because it's infantry, it can be hidden. Perfect, amazing. The unit being a little bit more expensive in 2s and 3s, which you only really saw 2s and 3s of Pyrophores, being taken Assimilation Swarm, which they're one of the 5 units in the Tyranny Codex that has the Harvester keyword. And 3 Pyrophores in the Harvester and Assimilation Swarm, because they're Harvesters, they can regenerate themselves, and they either heal D3+1 wounds or bring back a full Pyrophore, which is 5 wounds, toughness 6, so it's not like trivial to remove typically. And it's such a large base, you can cheat out so much extra movement. Granted, they are only OC1, so it's kind of like but it's still like pretty good. So I can see that point going up a little bit because I mean, it was 95 points for 3 of them. It's like, yeah, obviously, if I'm playing Assimilation Swarm, the question isn't if I'm bringing 3 Pyrophores. The question, am I bringing 6 or 9, was really the question at 95 points. The Maliceptor going down 10 points from the last patch. It went up 10 points. Yeah, I mean, the Maliceptor isn't that good, guys. It's a D6+3 attacks. Yeah, they're Terminator killing range attacks with AP2 damage 3. Hitting on 3 is Psychic, which is ignoring cover. Strength 10, which is great because you're wounding on 2s unless they have a -1 to wound thing.
That's false. It's there to hug your Norn, so I'm -1 to hit it.
That's true, yeah. If you're playing Norns, which you're going to need to buddy up with a Maliceptor, because that's the only way Norns have a chance. Because that 2 up, 4 up, 5 up, feel no pain only goes so far. There's no like minus damage or anything, so. But again, that only really impacts the Norn survivability against a melee matchup. And even then, some people are like, oh, I just ignore hit bonds, or oh, I get to reroll whatever. I crit 5 lethal sustain, right? And your Norn just kind of falls over. The extra going down 5 points is kind of like a token 5 points. It's like, it's not great. You know, strength 9, which is weird strength because it wounds most like high toughness things on 4s. Unless they're tanks, in which case you win them on 5s. So you want to use them against elite infantry, but you're still winning them on 3s, not 2s. And there's always like a -1 to wound thing with Terminators in most armies. So it's just kind of meh. Really, it's more of a I shoot you with the Exocrine. My Tyrannifex gets to reroll the hit roll, reroll hits of 1. Sorry, which is just
also have that issue because I played against them a lot, where they shoot once maybe, and then you just engage it, and then it never shoots you again because it's blast only.
D6+3 blast is not great when you move 8 inches and don't have the melee to back it up. Like the Exocrine is essentially the equivalent for the Lehman Russ, except Lehman Russ has significantly more guns and more survivable because it's higher toughness and better save. The Exocrine doesn't have any of that, so it's kind of just the Lehman Russ battle cannon on a shittier base like model that moves slower with significantly less support available to it. The Tyrannifex going down 10 points is cool. Rupture cannons hitting on 3s or 4s typically now because of how cover works makes them like even feels worse. Because normally it was, you know, you get heavy or, you know, you move and you're hitting on 3s in 10th edition. So you usually drop one of the 2 attacks on the hit. And then you would command point reroll it, and then you would drop another attack on the wound, and then be sad because you're playing sisters. And they're like, oh yeah, you now do 0 damage.
Hooray!
Now it's kind of like they just don't have enough like cannon shooting, if that makes sense. Like the rupture cannon, like it just isn't that reliable. It's not like a Lehman Russ where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna put all these guns into your tank and your tank's fucking dead, right? It doesn't have like the Gladiator Lancer ability where you know where you get to re-roll the hit, 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage roll. Putting that on the T-Fex would be pretty primo, but then they'd kind of cross over to the territory where it's a little bit too good. And it being 190 points for Rupture Cannon is kind of okay. The Acid Sprayer being 180 is kind of meh because it's fucking Acid Sprayer, D6+6 attacks. AP, I think 1, maybe AP 2, damage 2. Strength 6, no twin link, no rerolls, no consistency, and there's nothing in the Tyranid arsenal that lets you reroll the wound roll, especially for shooting. It's kind of eh. And then like its ability is you blank 1 attack, cool. The ghost kill for Tal, get that, but on an infiltrator with lone op, and they can blank 2 attacks. So it's like, eh.
Also, they're not 50 feet long.
Yeah. So you can kind of like tuck them in and hide them away. Zoanthropes going down 10 points for the 6 is cool.
Remind me
Except
though, doesn't that just counteract the Neurotyrant going up 10 last
does
time?
it because the Nero Tyrant is 130
So it's just
with
the
no
same
enhancement.
cost as it was 2 data slates ago, essentially, which is nice. It's better than
Yeah.
it being up,
But still, overall, it's 320 points for that. The Nero Tyrant and the Zoanthropes, compared to 10th edition, late 10th edition, it was like 305. So overall, the package still went up 15 points, which is
yeah.
just feels
And in some
bad.
ways they're better because of psychic, and then in some situations they're significantly worse because they can't shoot into combat anymore.
Yeah. So I think you'll probably see play with the 18 Zoanthropes in like Subterranean, for example, just because like you're not taking 3 Nero Tyrants, period, at 130 points. It's just not advisable. You might not even take 1. Like it's that bad with 130. Because the model itself just doesn't do that much for you, and taking multiples just doesn't benefit you at all. It's just like an insurance. If like maybe your once per game thing kind of does something, maybe perhaps, haha, unless. And Zoanthropes losing access to the big guns they retire while being led was kind of like their thing, because you get the +1 a hit. If your target was battle shocked, then it was like a day that ends on fucking the 15th on a leap year. You got +1 a wound. Now it's just kind of you throw 18 in there and you hit on 3s, you win on 3s with your last cannons for the most part. A Tyrant Guard going up 10 points for 6. Why?
Yeah, that was
They've
what I was
really
gonna
been
say. Is like
running the
that
game,
doesn't
man.
even
I
make
don't.
sense.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
quick
there's
quick person who doesn't play Tyranids and is still listening to this podcast at this moment. What does a Tyrant Guard do?
exactly. It's an anti-vehicle option with the shock cannon. That's what you're paying the 6 for. Except the shock cannon doesn't ignore cover innately like the psychic weapon does. You can strip cover with the pyrovore, which is cool, I guess. But you
No,
know,
Tyrant Guard are the melee guys. You're
oh,
thinking
yeah,
of
the
Hive
Hive
Guard.
Guard. Yeah, see
Yeah, that's what I'm
what I
saying.
mean?
What does
Yeah,
Tyrant Guard do?
yeah.
Well,
The-
Tyrant Guard are blind. They have no eyeballs,
Huh?
and they protect the Stormlord. That's
Right,
about it.
yeah. No, I,
yeah,
I have an idea
Two
of
up.
what they do. I'm just the player base
Yeah.
generally. What does that unit do? You don't
they're
know. So why are
they're
they up 10 points out of nowhere?
they're 50 millimeter or 50 or 40 millimeter bases, so it's almost impossible to get all 6 of them into a fight at the same time while being led by a Hive Tyrant, for example. And their ability is they give whatever is leading them a 5 up feel no pain. Uh, their toughness 8, 4 wounds each, 3 up save, so it's like not nothing, but like that ability is essentially worthless because why are you ever going to use your precision sniper rifle attack to attack a toughness 10, 10 wound, 2 up, 4 up monster? You're never gonna do that. It makes no sense.
Yeah, just a weird. I wonder what Tyranid player in the UK played a balance tester for GW and like absolutely threw down on them with like 3 units of 6 Tyrant Guard, and they were like, "Fucking never again, none on my watch."
So
Right.
my like 2 cents on these changes. I'm honestly not a huge fan of them. I don't like the promotion of gun lines. Um, in general, I'm just not a fan of shooting armies. Like I don't like playing. Like I like a balanced list with some shooting, some melee. Like I want to play every phase of the game, right? And to me, this seems like they're trying to push a little bit more towards like um the Crusher Stampede, like gunline esque lists. I don't like that. But yeah, the Tyrant Guard makes 0 sense. I think personally, like I made a Subterranean list because that's like the only attachment that I play. But I dropped my Zoanthropes and I put in 2 Tranifex, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be my. I'm putting all my eggs in that basket, I guess, and that's gonna be my guns. some changes I would have liked to have seen is Subterranean going away from Disruption or make it 2 DP. I don't think Subterranean is good enough after the changes in the core rules to warrant a 3 DP anymore.
Yeah, the 7-inch
Yeah,
deep strike.
exactly. 7-inch charge everywhere. That's extreme nerf, like across your entire army. I mean, it is.
I would almost want to see that you get +1 to charge out of coming out of a tunnel or something. Because I
Yeah.
would disagree that it's not good enough at 3DP, because I think the rule set is actually insane. But I also don't disagree with you that the making a 7, going from 6 to 7 isn't a downgrade. But I think Subterranean at 2DP would be a problem.
But you get a
I don't.
reroll,
I
right?
don't.
Don't you get a reroll for the
There's
whole?
For a strat, yeah.
one strat, one Tyranid monster that was set up on the table. Like a lot of the stratagems in Subterranean, you have to be set up on the table to use them, which means
There's
you have
0
to,
defensive strats as well.
yeah, you have to take them off the table somehow, which is typically another command point, or unless you're using Raveners and hyper adaptive Raveners to like uppy downy stuff that way. So it's really a
You
2DP to
also
use something.
you can't come in turn 1 anymore. So
Hmm.
like the
Yep.
whole thing about Subterranean was I'm gonna put half of my army into reserve, and then hope you're not fast enough to be on my home like turn 2 because you went first and now I'm waiting for you. So bottom of 2 I can actually start doing something. You're a 7-inch charge now instead of 6. You have 0 defensive strats. Um, you know, Disruption's terrible. It's I just don't think Subterranean is.
That part is tough. I don't disagree with you. I
I
feel
don't,
like it's
I don't
tough
think
for any 3DP to be Disruption, because it means you're only playing Disruption then. So yeah.
Yeah.
like the trick that Subterranean has, very nice for free.
Better.
Like that's like their whole army and it's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyranids oftentimes don't have invulnerable saves. So they're not that hard to kill. That with the exception of, a handful of units, right? Data sheets. But generally speaking, like the Raveners, 4-up base save, no invuln, and
T5.
hyper adaptives are 185 points. Like that's insane. That's too much. I don't know. I think Subterranean needs to be really looked at again, and I don't think it'll break the game if it's 2 DP. And
I think it would be
even if they're like,
immediately a problem, because it's Subterranean is an insane rules package if you like really just stop and look at it and what it does. Because on top of all of the uppy downy nonsense, it also gives your entire army reroll hits of 1, which is an insane rule. So you can't discount that either. The problem of
that's
Subterranean
the best rule we have.
is that it's Tyranid data sheets. So, but I just think I would not want to play Ricardo with Subterranean where he also gets Lictor buffs or, pick other 1 DP. I don't think they're going to do that, but I don't disagree with you that
Oh my god, that sounds so gross.
they should change
That's completely
they should change it to make it like +1 to the charge to kind of like undo some of the nerfs that it didn't really need, just from the like impact of how 11th edition works. But I don't
make the
disagree with you in
keyword so
general.
that you can't combine it with the reactive moving lictors. Like, sure, like that's because I think that would be really strong. Because then I can still feel confident about putting half my army in reserve.
Because you're not going to get to the
Moving my
lictors because they're
lictors.
going to run away. Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
Makes total sense. Like, just give me a 1 DP so that I can pick a different fucking disposition.
Well, I
then
don't disagree with you.
Subterranean
It
feels
should just
good.
not be it should not be disruption. I completely agree with you.
I would
I
take
just don't
that.
I don't think
I
it
would
should be
take
2 DP. But my argument is, with how the game is right now, no 3 DP detachment should be disruption. Is my feeling. Because I think it is that bad. Like, people are avoiding it that hard. So you're basically just saying like this detachment isn't played outside of teams. If it's disruption, it's 3 DP. I don't know.
yeah, for me, what
It's gotta
Subterranean
exist. It's gotta exist. Sorry to interrupt, Ricardo, but it's gotta exist. There's gotta be an army out there that's just perfect. Like the game designers who wrote Disruption had an army in mind when they wrote it. Like they knew there was a right army out there with the right speed, the right toughness, the right saves, and the right guns to play Disruption. It's fucking out there somewhere, and we will find it.
We'll find it
We just
after
don't
they
have it right.
change.
We don't have it yet.
We'll find it after they change how disruption works. I think it's just
Right.
the missions are poorly written. It's just
cracked
it's
it when
literally
they-
harder to score.
When they took aircraft away,
It is,
from
it totally is.
Eldrakes.
Right.
But yeah,
That was the fix.
It
Nobody
was
played
the
a structure
day.
anymore.
Yeah.
For subterranean, essentially what it does, it enables you, the Tyranid army, to have access to transports in like this pseudo,
in a way, yeah.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, where you
Yes.
can't
But even
kill
better
what
because they're
the
transports
That's
that
a great
you
analogy.
can't kill off the
Yeah.
table before they arrive. It gives the
Exactly.
Tyranid player like, asterisk because they're still screening, but like perfect target acquisition at the start of the game. And then later on through the game, like you can do the tricks of like my T-Fex killed a tank over here, and now you move your tanks over there. Well, fucking psych, bitch, I'm on that other side now. So,
The
and
problem that I felt, it's the Death Shroud problem, right? For me, it's I have this unit that if I connect, or in Subterranean's case, it's usually multiple, but it's like if I can connect this charge, this is devastating. But if I fail, I've already lost the fucking game
oh, I don't disagree. I mean,
because
Ricardo
Yeah,
is
and
literally like his team's results for us with Subterranean are like almost exclusively 18 to 20
how many charges did
or
he make?
0 to 3. And it's
it's
literally just
literally
I
based
failed
off of
all my
mid
6-inch
charges.
charges or I passed all my 6-inch charges and that's it. And that is a shitty like play
Yeah, it
pattern.
sucks.
Yeah,
Like that.
'cause-
This was the detachment that made me pick up Tyranids because I love Trigons and Raveners, and to see it just get nerfed by core rules feels bad. It's like, all right,
I agree with you on that
let's
one.
fix this.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the 6-inch charge should come back. You just need to roll a 6 on the dice, not 7. I think mathematically that was fine.
I think it's like I said, if you're charging out of a tunnel, it's +1 to charge. Problem solved. Keep it schmoving.
exactly. Yeah, even then, because like the Tyranids, the problem is typically with Tyranids, you need multiple of your units to connect to make that charge to kill it. Like to be like, all right, I know that's gonna die. I don't have like 10 Stern Guard with
Yep.
Oath to like be like, all right, fucking Angron, he's gonna lose 90% of his wounds from this one unit, and then maybe I have this Lancer as backup.
Non-zero
No,
chance he dies to devs.
Ridiculous.
exactly.
Those words are ridiculous.
But for Tyranids, it's like, all right, I need 20 Genestealers, a Lictor, a fucking this guy over here,
A
Psychophage to give
Neurolictor
me
and you
plus
have
1
to pass your
AP.
fucking
Susan
or
from
fail your battle
accounting.
shock. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
I need the judge at the table so he can like fucking sanction my Psychophage to fucking hit. It's gonna somehow not hit with its torrent weapon, and I won't get my AP buff. It doesn't matter anyways because everybody has a fucking 2 up 4 up, and we all have like AP2 and Tyranids. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like I can charge my Screamer Killer into 5 Assault Intercessors and not feel confident I'm gonna pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've like, all right, I'm gonna shoot and charge this Screamer Killer into 5 scouts. All right, 4 of them, maybe 3 of them are dead at the end of the fight phase. Like, all right, cool. So that was shooting, fighting with a fucking 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, AP2 damage 3 weapon. And it's just
They
like,
passed their
what?
Battle Shock, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
of
like,
course. They always pass the battle shock
But
with the
remember,
-1. Yeah.
remember, one juiced up Palatine drops that bitch 100% of the time. And the
Exactly.
people
Like,
doubted
yeah,
me.
I'm like,
And I knew.
I'm
Dustin knew.
T9.
no, I know. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that guy's fucking dead. Guess what? He failed his charge out of the tunnel, didn't he? That's why he was standing there.
One woman is gonna walk up and dispatch this nightmare, this hyper adapted,
2 up,
perfectly evolved.
T9.
Right in his bald spot.
Yeah, fucking just delete.
And that Screamer Killer failed his charge, so he was dead to me. At that point, I was like, all right,
Yeah.
you're a
You fail
failure,
your
go
charge,
away.
you have failed me, you have failed the hive. Die.
I'll perish. Oh, I am so amped for the Tyranid Codex because I pray to God it is overtuned like the Orc one. I know it's gonna be, and it's my time in the sun, and I'm gonna hear people going, "Oh, Tyranids, Tyranids this."
And you'll be like,
Tyranids-" I'm
good,
gonna tell
suffer.
it, yeah, suffer. Yes, you're suffering. It makes this juicier. It's like I have
And,
been
I cast
struggling
Shadows in
for
the
so
Warp.
long.
GSG
Yeah.
will revel in the tears of others as we unleash Ricardo instead of just fucking random bullshit with 120 birds. Now he's just gonna bring good units. What a
Mhm.
change!
Iron Guard, you'll actually know what they do because they'll fucking do something other than a 5 of Infinite Pain for one model that's a monster, anyways.
And we're also gonna note this down for the future when the codex does drop and it's complete ass, so we can come back to this. Remember that Ricardo did at one point have a light in his eye, but maybe
Yeah.
GW will stamp it out. Can't
Exactly,
count
yeah.
it out.
I don't foresee a world where I miss Shadows in the Warp but I know deep down
Some British
there's a
fuck out there is
possibility.
he's cooking it up. He's chefing.
Yeah,
He's about to
he's
make
gonna
you eat those words.
he's
What
gonna
if
put it
it's
down. He's gonna put it on the grill, leave it there, and burn it. I'm gonna be like, fuck, I gotta eat this now, dude.
what if it's just the orc rule? Like, they broke it up the war into some smaller wars, right? So what if it's a shadow of the warp, but broken down into like some smaller shadows of the warp?
If I could just be like, all right, depending on the game size, I pick units like 2 units at 2,000 points, and those units are battle shocked. Period. I would be happy.
Wow, that would be
No,
crazy.
I
Yeah,
would
that would
be
be awesome.
happy
That'd be
if
crazy. That'd be awesome.
every synapse creature just had a constant -1 to battle shock aura.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
I'd be fine
That
with
would.
that.
I feel like
Yep.
like when I first started playing Tyranids, I didn't realize that wasn't the case, and I was like, for like the first couple months, I was like, yeah, -1 because your synapse is a battle shock test. Reread the rule, and I was like, oh, that's not how that works.
Oh.
Only during Shadows in the Warp is that applicable.
So
But it's great
stupid.
because your opponent gets to ask you the entire game after you use shadows which ones have -1, and be like,
Exactly, 'cause they
and
don't
you're
know.
like none of them, and you're like, oh. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, that I checked your data sheet. That attack last turn when you said you were strength 8, you're actually strength 7. So what was that about?
Yeah, it's like it's synapse. Like, oh, but it says synapse on here. I know that's not the real synapse.
Also, I'm gonna go ahead and insane bravery your shadows if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm just causing psychic damage to Tyranids players. That's all I'm doing.
For those for
we
you
do a little
Tyranid
bit of
players
trolling.
that don't know, they cannot use insane bravery during the Shadows in the Warp. They couldn't do it in 10th edition. They can't do it in 11th either.
But what can you use, Ricardo?
You got miracle dice.
Rile up,
Yes.
dude.
Also, you can just
Or-
rile it up.
Or
Oh,
you can
riled
just
up.
be like
Get them boys
riled
riled
up.
up.
And I don't care about I pass fail doesn't matter because I'm not going to be battle shock when it matters to you. Like, cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to end. I think here after our long Tyranid diatribe. Obviously, Ricardo, he deserves this because he has been suffering. And please, GW, give him good rules. But for the rest of us, we will all be riled up because the Orks Codex is upon us, and we've already played one game with it on the stream, and yeah, kind of digging into that. We're going to probably review that on the podcast next week. Looking forward to getting into the nitty gritty, and I can repeat getting crashing out about reading Gaz's data sheet and then looking at my poor Snake Boy and how he just doesn't measure up in basically any way. But yeah, anything else you guys want to say about the data slate before we wrap up? I think it was my top level thoughts. Obviously, much less significant than the last one. I think overall, most of the changes I can see the rationale behind the Dark Angels is kind of similar to Orks from last time, where I think it's a huge miss, where it's still just going to be the best army in the game now, pending how good the Orks Codex is. And then, yeah, it's just very clearly like a waiting room data slate because of the Orks Codex and then the Space Marines Codex. Clearly, they're not messing around with Space Marines too much because they're just like everything's going to change. So.
Yeah, for me, I'm also one thing we didn't go over for the Tyranids is the Northern Assimilator enhancement that gives them the 4-up invulnerable save went up by 5 points because fuck any sense of joy we had in our lives.
Yeah,
as Tyranid players.
They're trying to tell you not to play it.
Yeah, it's like all right, Assimilation Swarm, not super great. 10th edition, 11th edition, it's kind of okay. Let's go ahead and knock you down.
Back in your box, back to your lictors and your Vanguard Onslaught.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's definitely like some steps in the right direction. Some steps just kind of off into the woods somewhere for whatever reason. They got lost. I don't know why. Tyrant Guard went up 10 points, but hey, cool. Go fuck myself.
Yeah,
But
that's.
some of the other.
I mean, it's like
weird
kind of
changes-
similar to Celestine for Sisters. It's like, why do we do that?
Exactly.
Why are we
so
fixing Drukhari Legends models and not doing anything to them
I don't-
otherwise? Like,
I don't
what's
know
what's
what
happening?
intern or whoever got put in charge of this task, but they probably should have. They did like a 6 or 7 out of 10 on like their performance on this. I think it definitely could have been better.
Yeah.
Like even withstanding the Orc and the Space Marine asterisks to this isn't a
Yeah.
real one for them. Just overall.
Yeah, I thought the guard changes were quite meaningful. It doesn't change anything for the foot slogging guys in shirts and ties. But I think that's gonna be like a structural change that needs to come later. But as of right now, you can definitely get those Lehman Russes out, some those Rogodorns out, and you will have fun. I guarantee you. Like That's a guarantee. You will have fun.
Respect, Dustin. Will you have fun with Death Guard or Black Templars?
No.
Yeah. Sorry, bud. Maybe September.
Please-
No.
Wake Dustin up when
there's-
September ends.
Right?
There's yeah, right. There's a Death Guard list that I'm pretty excited to try, actually, which is a new feeling since 11th came out. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't got on the table yet, but doing a lot of research and reading about it, and it looks pretty cool. So give that a shot.
Hell yeah. And EC and Sisters still perfectly playable. Why Celestine and to a lesser extent the Lord Exultant got a drive-by, not sure why, but plenty of good stuff in those armies. Happy to keep playing them. And then yeah, Orc Codex now, Space Marine Codex looming. What's after that? We don't know, but a lot of exciting stuff going on for us. We're getting ready for some of our own events, and then LVO is not too far after that. And then after that, we're going to do a tournament within the team, get ready for LVTT. So a lot of fun stuff ahead, and we will document all of the changes to the game and events going on with our team here on the podcast once a week. Typically comes out at 7 p.m. Pacific, just like our other streams and videos. This one's going to come out a little late, which is only going to matter for the person who's listening to it the night it comes out. Apologies. This dropped late, and we had people on our team who work or something. I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks everybody for joining us for yet another podcast, another Dataslate breakdown. It's always exciting, good or bad. Dataslate day is always, you don't know what you're gonna get to open up the box, crack the box. What'd we get? And Ricardo got Tyrant Guard up 10. So enjoy. Yeah, that's going to be it for us. We'll see you next week on the podcast, and of course for our daily videos and streams. But until then, take care, everybody.